everyone. Good evening. Welcome back to That's Never Happened Before. So good to have you all, whether you are sticking around from Awfully Silly or you were just joining us this evening because you wanted to check out some Axiom Verge. If you don't know about this game, you definitely should. But I also want to say that, hi, I'm Kungfufruitcup. Did I say that at first? I don't know. Usually I forget. I've been better about it lately. But hey, we're here. We're back with another episode. So excited to be with you all once again. If you have not seen the show before, this is all about glitches. This show is about glitches and how they are used in speedruns. And then sometimes we get to see some fun runs, some fun ones that are not even exactly speedrun related, but just really cool to show off. So like if you were seeing a glitch exhibition at a main GDQ event, it would be like that, but it's a lot more. And that's what this whole show is. So we see a lot of like run breakdowns. You're not going to see any PBs here. We're like slowing it down, pausing. We're really setting you up, giving you the background, like going into the nitty gritty of how it works. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, this is the perfect show for you. So tonight I am joined by the wonderful Sabera Messia, who is here with me to show off, again, Axiom Verge. How's it going, Sabera?
It's going really well, Fu. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yay, good. I know, I'm so glad. So I'm so glad I got to get some awesome lady representation for Women's History Month. We will be obviously trying to include more throughout the year, but so happy to have you here. This is like perfect timing. And you just recently were involved with Frost Fatale as well.
Yes.
And so how was that for you?
That was amazing. It's my second time being in a Flame Fatales event. I was in Flame Fatales 2021 as well. This time I was running Axiom Verge 2, actually, in a glitchless category. Which is weird because I love the glitches in Axiom Verge 1.
Which is perfect because that's what we get to see today.
And I did a Metroid Dread race with Emre, who, I was incredibly honored when she asked me to do a race with her, and it went really super well. So it was really, really fun. We practiced our respective butts off, and it really, really paid off. Technical issues notwithstanding.
Right, I know, that always happens. Like there's always something at like every event or just, one of your runs or it happens and it still went awesome. And so I'm glad that you had a lot of fun.
I'm still a little salty because if we hadn't had the tech issues, I would have had a valid 4-minute PB in that race.
Oh no. Oh, that's such a bummer. Well,
it's fine though. I'm just glad it went well.
Yeah, exactly. I know that's really the point at the end of the day. That's the main thing. But it's so good to have you all here again tonight. And so speaking with you, so getting into what we are about to see, you said you love the glitches in Axiom Verge 1. Can you tell us what brought you to this game in the series in the first place?
So I played this game casually on a lark. I want to say probably a year after it came out. And at the time I had been speedrunning Shovel Knight. And I had not been doing especially well. I had really kind of hit a wall. And I wanted to try something else. So I tried to do an any percent speedrun of this game. And it took me 2.5 hours.
Okay.
And then 4 years later, one of my friends was like, hey, you've been speedrunning Celeste and getting really good at it. Would you be interested in picking Axiom Verge back up again and doing a race with me on my once annual Metroidvania day?
Oh,
and
cool.
his
Okay.
PB was an hour and change. And I was like, yeah, in a year, I can probably get my time down from 2.5 hours to an hour. And I watched I watched the world record and I saw the glitches and I was just like, wait, what? What? And I joined the Discord and was like, hey, sorry to just pop in and be like, can you teach me some glitches? But what's going on? And
yeah, I know. But can you teach me some glitches?
Yeah. And they were incredibly friendly. One of the mods just fired up his stream straight away and was like, here, let me show you how to do this tech.
Cool.
And I don't know, just something about the movement of this game, the combination of Metroidvania and run and gun and all of that has just made it feel really good to me. And so I've been playing this game for 2 years at this point now.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
And here we are. Here we are today chatting about, the glitches we're about to see. That's super cool. How you get involved. And it's just a really good example of how welcoming speedrun communities can be. Obviously, once something gets big enough, there are always going to be some potential bad apples and whatever. But speedrunning communities in general, especially for like smaller games, are almost always like so nice and so accommodating. They're like, yes, welcome in. Like, we love to show you. Here's what's going on. Like, you can work together on things, which is really cool. So I'm glad that this is like another good example of that.
Yay.
And you like get involved and now here we are like getting to break this down. And then with Axiom Verge, for people who don't know, you've already kind of touched that it's like running gun and Metroidvania. Is there anything else you want to like explain before we go into it about like how the game works or any of the story? Because I know we're going to kind of miss some of that.
Yeah, we're going to miss pretty much all of the story. So
to get our heads around it.
Yeah. So basically you play as a theoretical physicist. His name is Trace. He wakes up from an egg-shaped device on a like pretty much barren alien world, has no idea how he got there after an explosion in his lab, and is guided by a mysterious voice. Eventually there are some giant robots and there are some smaller robots and lots of kind of big biomechanical creatures that serve as bosses. We are going to be starting after the second boss of the run. After we have picked up a number of the various upgrades. I think the biggest thing that people associate with Axiom Verge is actually a glitch aesthetic, because one of the big mechanics in Axiom Verge is you get a glitch gun and you can glitch enemies and some parts of your surroundings. And it becomes, very important in the game to use that. But we are going to be seeing a bunch of actual glitches. So I have a save here that's basically it's after the third boss. Because
boss, okay.
The first real opportunity for a glitch in the speedrun comes right before what's normally the fourth boss of the run. So
out of how many?
Out of, gosh, that's a great question. It's an all bosses run, so I never thought to count them. So the
just doing all of them.
Yeah, the 100% run in this is every map tile, every item, and all of the bosses. There's a separate category that's just all items, but the game gives you a percentage for both map and items at the end of the game. So true hundo is both.
Yeah. We're exploring glitches within that category, right?
Yes. Yeah. So I'm going to talk about the 100% category because it makes the most use of glitches. And there's also several things that appear in it that don't appear in any other categories because of the fact that you have to collect every map tile. Like that.
Makes sense.
That requirement specifically creates some interesting routing. So I'm going to go ahead and get started.
Alrighty. Okay, let's switch over. I just want to do a quick note for everybody at home. If you have any questions about what's happening or you'd like to just ask, just ask about things in general, feel free to do so. As always, since I'm here in kind of the commentary position, I will be watching for chat. So you let me know. And otherwise, I'm just doing my peanut gallery thing. So yeah, Sabera, whenever you're ready, feel free to count down and we can get going. Show us how this works.
Sounds great. All right. We're going to go in 3, 2, 1, go. I actually left the save in not exactly the place that I wanted to. We're gonna go ahead and fix that. This is really easy. So when the randomizer released for this, they also released a debug console, and that makes it really easy for me to just jump around. So this is area 4, and I want to go to save room 3, I believe. No, save room 2? Save room 2. Okay, great.
Awesome.
Okay, so we are going to go ahead and save really quickly. I'm actually also going to make a save state here because I can do that. Okay, so we are right before the fourth boss of the run, Gertab, and I'm actually going to show you in a normal run, you would actually go in and fight Gertab. And I want to show you this just to give you a little bit of context. So this is Gertab. He's a big scorpion. His only weak point is on his belly. So we jump into his tail, stand by his leg, and just shoot at his belly. And he locks himself into this flamethrower animation, and now he's dead. Okay.
So it's quick to begin with.
That was that fight. That boss fight is not is not slow by any means. It is incredibly fast, quick kill, and it's fairly easy to do in normal mode. However, if you're playing in hard mode, and sometimes I do, in fact, I've done this category in hard mode, it's very tight and he can move out of the flamethrower animation on you, and if you're not on it immediately, you die.
Wow.
So that's not great. So in order to make that run a little bit safer, I do a glitch that is not done by anybody else and is not done in any other category. And it starts with glitching these shrimp-like thing. They're called krill. I guess for understandable reasons, they're krill-y. So these purple krill, when you glitch them with your glitch gun, they turn into these little moving platform things.
What's
and
missing no?
They are chaos incarnate. They bounce around pretty much at random, and they are one of only 2 moving platforms in the entire game. Trace is not actually supposed to be pushable on this little platform, but for some reason the drone can interact with him and push the krill by jumping at him. And so this is one of the hardest glitches in speedrun mode to set up. It may take me a while, but basically what I'm trying to do here is push Trace into the wall so that he actually gets stuck there on top of the krill. And if this, when it eventually works, it will eventually work. Come on. There we go. And no, thank you. Come on. I really need you to cooperate. This happens a lot. This is we don't really understand why this works. We just, I invented this out of a different version of the same skip for this boss that another runner, Rare Beef, came up with a while ago that actually involves pushing Trace through the door while he's on the krill, and that can jettison you to a random room, which basically kills your run if it's not the right place. And we don't understand, like, Beef is the only one who's ever gotten his version of the glitch to work. Everybody else has always ended up in the wrong room. And we don't, because we don't understand how either of these things work, we don't really know why. Okay, there we go. So he's partially embedded in the ceiling. But if I do the rest of the glitch now, it's not gonna work. He has to be completely embedded in the ceiling. So we're gonna jump up like this and push him up there into that corner, right? And then we're gonna push him back down, and now he's completely embedded. All right?
Okay.
Great. So if I recall the drone to him now, he's just gonna get jettisoned left out of the wall because that's how the game corrects for Trace being in an invalid position. But if I move the drone out of the room and recall it, it resets the room, and where's Trace? Where's literally anything? But if I hold right, Trace walks through a door, and now we are above Gertab. We have completely skipped the boss fight.
Oh my god.
So this glitch is called Krill Rocket, for perhaps obvious reasons now. Basically what happened was when I recalled the drone, because Trace was embedded entirely inside of the wall, he was in an invalid position, and because I recalled the drone from outside of the room, it reset Trace's last valid position. Trace didn't have a last valid position to go to. So the game tries... Sorry?
Did you just flip through that little bit of wall as well? Yeah, what are you doing there?
Yeah, sorry. My lab coat, the lab coat that Trace is wearing allows him to walk through one-tile walls as long as he's standing on the ground. This is just a normal part of gameplay.
Okay, cool. I'm a bit newer to this game, so it's exciting to see
absolutely. Very happy to talk about that. That'll actually become relevant in some of the glitches that are coming up. So thank you for mentioning it.
I want to make sure I catch everything.
Yeah. So the game wants to send Trace back to his last valid position. Trace doesn't have a last valid position anymore because we did the room reset by recalling the drone from a different room. And so it goes, okay, well, when I put Trace in his last valid position, he's still in the wall. What now? And so it just moves him straight up until it either runs out of up to send him to, or it finds a valid place that he can stand, even if it's not in the room that we're actually in. So it just rocketed him straight up into the back of the room where we get drone, which you normally can't access at this part of the game. And then we were able to just walk out the door, and that fixes the camera. Whenever you go through a door transition, it loads whatever room is on the other side of that door transition, even if the room that you start from isn't loaded. So that's how we fix being in an unloaded room is we walk through a door. So we'll be in unloaded rooms several times over the course of this run. And you will just like see me do things without the ability to actually see where we're going. But the reason that we come and fight Gertab, if you watch an any % no major glitches run, we actually skip Gertab entirely by playing without saving the game for the first like 18 minutes of the run, and then save warping all the way back to the beginning. Because we need Address Disruptor 2, which is our second level glitch gun, in order to get to the next area of the game. But the game also wants us to get Grapple, so that we can get back to the beginning of the game and move on to that area. But if we just save warp back to the beginning area, then you know what? I'm actually going to turn on God mode so that we don't have to worry about actually doing this room. Another benefit of the debug console is basically I can just turn on God mode and move on.
But it's not about doing this as intended. This is not as intended show.
So if you just save warp back to the beginning of the game, you don't have to get grapple at all. And so that's what any % no major glitches does, because the grapple is actually primarily useful for performing glitches. So we're going to go ahead and get the grapple. We're not going to bother getting all of the other things that we would get in 100%. But basically, we would take a very specific route through this room in order to get all of the... There's one more item in this room that's like up here where my drone is firing. And there's a bunch of map tiles. So we would take a very specific route through the room because we never come back here. And then we would save warp, which takes us... Oh, right. I actually saved here. So I'm actually going to have to debug warp myself back to the beginning of the area.
It's all good.
By getting the grapple, we've now enabled ourselves to do grapple shenanigans. So this is area 4, save room 1 that we want to go to. All right, so that's going to pop us back here. Am I still in? I think I'm... Nope, I turned off God mode. Okay, cool. That's fine. So we're going to use our glitch gun as we navigate through here, just so I can show off some more of the like very cool glitch aesthetic of this game. So the grappling hook, I got a chance to talk with Tom Happ, the creator of this game, when I was doing my AGDQ 2021 any % run. This is the other moving platform in the game, by the way. This is Araka. And you'll notice that no matter which way I run, I'm just stuck in place. This is part of the reason why moving platform nonsense works the way that it does in this game, is just because the game was not designed to have moving platforms. And so they don't work quite right. And it's not really a big deal because you don't really want to walk off of Araka anyway. You jump off of her. Oh, I almost forgot about this. Okay. This is a glitch called Rocket Door. Okay, so watch. I'm going to go downward through this door, and Trace moves relatively slowly through the door.
Right.
For some reason, if you are grappled straight up above a vertical door, like you're just standing on it, and then you go down through the door, he just shoots through it at like breakneck speed.
Oh, way faster.
Yeah, and there's one other weird thing about that. If you do it on an area transition door, so like right now we're in a different area from where we were before. Before we were in Kerr, now we're in Indy. So if you do it on an area transition door that takes you from one area to another, so there's one right below us that takes us from Indy into Z. You move so fast through the transition that the music doesn't load. And until you hit another door transition that triggers a music change, you will just have no background music whatsoever for a while. It's super, super strange. That one is like a very minor optimization, but it is one of my favorite things to incorporate into 100% runs because it is super duper fun.
Like you get to just like weird out people who are watching. They're like, why?
Why? So the grapple, Tom said was modeled after Bionic Commando for the NES, and so it does things in a particular way that kind of tries to emulate what the NES Bionic Commando was doing. In particular, the grapple, when you attach to something, puts Trace in the position that it thinks he should be in based on how he's grappled onto things.
Okay,
and
so
then
it could move him slightly.
Yeah, and then tries to fix things. Like if the place that he ends up in, right? Like, so if I'm, swinging into a wall or something like that, it won't let me do that, right? But when I attach, it's going to put me in this swinging position at the apex of my swing, right? Trace just gets snapped to that apex position, right? He doesn't move continuously. He just immediately snaps there. So we have this one tile wall that we want to walk through, but we can't do that with our coat because it's not flush to the floor with us.
Right.
We could walk through it from the other side, but we can't. Now, there's another grapple trick that I'm going to show in a little while that doesn't get used in any runs that allows us to move through certain one-tile walls that are off the ground. But we can't use it on this one because there's just not enough, it's not far enough down from the ceiling. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the game confused about which direction we're grappling and where the grapple is getting attached. So what I'm going to do is, you see that I'm here flush against the wall and I'm aiming up into the left. I'm going to jump while aiming up into the left. And then at the very apex of my jump, I'm going to turn to face up into the right, and then I'm going to grapple onto the ceiling. And what that's going to do is that.
Oh my gosh.
So
you're able to it in that crevice, it looks like.
Yeah, so basically what happens is it thinks the grapple attachment point should be up and to the left of where Trace is, but it thinks he's grappling up and to the right. So it attaches diagonally onto the ceiling and puts him at the apex of his swing, which happens to put him on the left side of the wall. And then it goes, hey, wait a minute, you're partially inside of a wall, and disconnects the grapple. And now you're on the other side of the wall.
And there you go. I mean, that's a really nice thing to be able to take advantage of. Is it useful in more areas, or is that the main one?
So that particular grapple trick gets used exactly here.
Okay.
even in randomizer, we don't use grapple for that kind of pass through anywhere else. And the reason for that, let me show you. So here's another one tile wall that's off the ground. Oh no, I can't get out. I'm stuck. Well, here's the thing. If I am flush to the wall and I extend the grapple pretty far and I just swing to the right, oops.
Oh.
Because the next step on my swing, right, these swing steps are discrete. It's not a continuous motion.
Yes,
the very first swing step is past the wall. And remember, the grapple puts you where it thinks you're supposed to be first and fixes it later. So
goofy.
So pretty much every other wall that you would want to do that with, you can do that instead, which is easier. It's just a significantly easier trick. But there are no runs that make use of that because our next coat upgrade, our trench coat, which lets us dash in midair and lets us go through 2 tile walls, basically makes it it obviates it. It makes it completely obsolete. So those are our grapple tricks for passing through walls. Now, passing through this wall gets us into this area. The area above us is called Ukana. And if we were to go through it normally, we would have to go through a fairly long hallucination sequence where we climb all the way from the bottom to the top of the area with very little movement tech. While the screen is, I'm actually going to show you what the screen effect looks like.
Okay.
Here. So basically, while you're moving through this hallucination sequence, did you see that other trace that ran through the door?
Yes.
Yeah. So we hallucinate that other trace, right? And we come through this save point, and you can see how there's all of the green stuff, but there's also all of this weird stone stuff and hollow things. And now the screen's starting to get a little bit wavy, and all of the green stuff is disappearing. And now it's a little bit wavier than it was before. And I'm actually going to keep going so that you can see. I'm going to turn on God mode so that I don't have to worry about taking damage or anything like that.
Sure.
But you come through all of this area, and when you get to the top of this room is where things start getting really creepy, because you come up here and I mean, there's like cow heads and there's all these like swinging like skulls and things. And then you get up here and there's these faces. What is going on? And this whole area is just this whole big creepy hallucination sequence, and the wavy line effect gets worse and worse and worse as you come through here, and like all of that. Okay, cool. The wavy effect is not going to go away anymore. By the way, yeah.
What if you go back through?
So it's gone in other areas. So they did fix that actually.
Oh, but it's still back. Oh,
it's still back if you come back in here.
Okay.
So that's relatively long. We'd like to not do that. We'd like to just skip to the top of the area. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to grapple onto this door at the same time as we pass through the door, which you're not supposed to be able to do. So like if I'm grappled onto something and I swing into a door, it's not going to let me go up through the door, right? You're not supposed to be able to enter doors that way.
Okay.
But the thing is, if I'm going through an upward door, and I happen to attach to the door while I'm going up through the door, it lets happen because, Tom didn't anticipate that anybody might want to do that. And because you're not supposed to be able to be grappled onto anything while you're going through a door, the game has no idea what to do with this. It doesn't think to do anything special with it. So this grapple is attached to this door at a particular XY coordinate, right? So like the game stores what position the grapple head is at, of course, naturally, right? When you move areas, that XY coordinate doesn't change. So the grapple is attached at whatever is it at that XY coordinate in the new area that you moved to.
So it might throw us up? Maybe?
Yep, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Oh, cool. Okay. Oh my God.
So you notice that we can't see Trace. I'm going to go ahead and unlock the camera.
Okay. Oh, what?
And if I look at the map here, you can see that there's the bottom of the area, and then we're way the heck up at the top. Now, the map squares won't get revealed because we're in an unloaded room. This is one of the big things about 100% routing, is because we need those map tiles, we actually need to be in the rooms while they're loaded. The other thing is you can see that this room does not have a ceiling. It doesn't have a ceiling at all.
Yes.
Also, I'm going to go ahead and like run over here and show you. There is a door here. If I go out through this door, the game will crash.
Oh, okay.
Because once you're done with the hallucination sequence, this area will change into a non-hallucination version of itself. The areas just get swapped out with each other, but they are completely different map files in the game.
Interesting.
This room is not supposed to exist. It is in the main, it's in the regular version of the area, but this door does not go anywhere in this. If I walk through it, there's no room on the other side for the game to load. So it goes, well, I'm going to try to load the next room. There's nothing there. Null pointer exception, the game crashes. But if you look below us, you can see that there's some free space beneath us, right? And it turns out that that's actually the save room that immediately precedes the boss of this area.
And after the chase sequence.
So after, you do the whole climb up to the top of this area, there's a boss. And then after the boss happens, there's a cutscene and you wake up in the real version of the area, not the hallucination version. So there's one other quirk about this room that is weird. There is this doorway over here. This door isn't real. You can't go through it. There's nothing on the other side of it. There's a little overhang over it, just like you would find in a lot of other doorways. In the real version of this room, after the hallucination sequence is done, this doesn't exist. So if we had done that door grapple that I just did, and this room didn't exist, like this was just out of bounds, the game would crash.
It would crash, yeah.
Yeah. But it's here. All right, cool. If it weren't for the fact that this door that doesn't exist in the real version of the room, if this little doorway didn't exist, right, this overhang, we wouldn't be able to get out of this room.
Okay.
But we want to get down into that save room that's below us, and we can do that. We actually can do that. So what we're going to do is, this is actually much easier for me to do I'm gonna replace my save state here. This is actually much easier for me to be able to do without being able to see it. I'm gonna do it that way first, and then I'm gonna show you all what's happening. Let's go ahead and save state now that I know that I'm in the right position. There we go. You saw the camera shifted, right?
Yes.
So now if I hold left, what's gonna happen is I'm just gonna walk right out of the save room. So the camera's gonna fix its position because we're loading into the room right before the boss now. And this is what the effect looks like when you're at the very top of the area. More creepy faces. And this is the save room, right? So, like, that's it.
Back in. So interesting. Okay.
Well, yeah. So you can go out and then back in. And so I do that to get map tiles, right? But that's the only reason that you might do that. And any percent YMG, yes, major glitches, where this is a crucial piece of tech, we just go out and then leave because the save room's supposed to be there. That's totally fine. All right, so I'm going to load this again, and I'm going to unlock the camera again. So what I'm doing here is, so under normal circumstances, if I fire my grappling hook, it fires at a diagonal. I'm not pressing any other buttons. I'm just pressing grapple. It shoots up and right in front of me. If I lock myself in place, that's still true. But if I tap down, even for an instant, now my default grapple actually fires straight out in front of me. And if I swing my aim while the grapple is out, then the grapple arcs and it can still attach to stuff in an upward position like this.
Oh, okay.
So what's going to happen is I am going to fire my grapple forward, and then I'm going to jump, and then I'm going to press up. And I'm trying to get the grapple to attach, yeah, there we go, to that overhang. And what that does is, again, the grapple puts me in the position it thinks I should be at the length of the grappling hook when I attach to the ceiling. It doesn't matter that it wasn't the right vertical distance. It's just the grappling hook was that long. It attached what it thinks is straight up. So it puts me that many tiles downward, and that puts me through the floor.
Oh my gosh. Oh, right. And so, but this is something that I believe, since we mentioned before the show started, that we'll actually be seeing a lot more, right?
Yes. Grapple clipping is used all over the place.
Yes. Okay.
In this run. And there's actually some really, a really fairly cool application of it right after this whole sequence. So we're actually going to go into the boss fight. I'm actually going to show you this. This boss fight is pretty cool. So I'm going to take my hands off of the controller. I'm just going to hold them completely in front of me. I'm going to defeat this boss with the power of telekinesis. So during that particular boss sequence, Trace is actually hallucinating that he is really the boss monster, and that the other Trace is the Trace that entered the boss room. And so your controller controls the movements of the boss and the boss's attacks. And at the end of that, there is a cutscene where you are dragged off by a helper drone that brings you to this gigantic face. This is Ophelia, who neutralizes you against whatever, fever was causing you to have a fever dream. And so now we are in the normal, totally perfectly normal version of Ukena. No totally wavy lines, no creepy faces, just, standard, green Brinstar kind of looking. I'm in God mode, but these little wavy plants do damage to you if you're not.
Okay. Would have never known.
And they also slow you down. They are unfortunate in more ways than one.
Is grappling across a room faster than just walking?
So if you grapple at a long length, it's faster than just walking because the swing arc is pretty wide. Yeah.
Yes.
I learned that from the any percent world record holder, Bluey Lewis, who is like a savant at this game. Really amazing. This is the area where we're supposed to get our trench coat, which is our movement upgrade. And you're really you're supposed to kind of climb down the area and come around to get to it. We're gonna do that more or less, but we're gonna do it in a silly way. So first, it's faster to grapple clip through there than it is to do that. For the next room, there's actually 2 different options. If you are playing any percent, the best thing that you can do is clip through the floor into this room, and then do some blind navigation.
I'm gonna try to go after you.
Yeah, it's still trying to chase me until we get here. All right, so that's one option, right? And then our other option, and I am actually going to
probably a little easier to like use the debug, like the camera adjustment mode, if that's your first thing through that room and see what you're doing.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
This
Those
is
new people.
This is what it looks like. You're kind of walking through that, and then you just hold down as you move left off of that upper platform, and you'll know if you really are worried about being able to tell when you hit this wall, you can actually use a sound cue from your drill.
Oh, okay.
So when I drill normally, that's what it sounds like. When I'm drilling against a wall, it sounds like that.
Yeah.
So you can hear when you're up against this, and then you can jump, right, to get here. And then once you're up there, you can just walk off like that and hold left and down, and you'll go through the door. And that basically saves you a door transition. But in 100%, we actually do something a little bit different. There's actually so I'm going to show you kind of the vanilla way to do this. But if I glitch this like little bouncy ball thing, it will break that. And then there's just like a little secret passage here that the drone can crawl through.
But obviously this is intended.
Yeah, this is totally intended. And then there's an item here, right? And we want to get that item, and we want to get these map tiles. Well, it's slow to do that the intended way. And later we end up coming back here with something that makes it faster to break through those blocks. So, all right, whatever. But there's actually an even faster way to get this that avoids us ever having to come back to this room. And that is, we're going to grapple clip ourselves over here. This one can be pretty precise, so forgive me. Oh, come on. Do I have to be closer? There we go.
Oh,
right.
Wow.
Yeah, so when the game is deciding whether or not Trace is in a valid position, it really only cares about whether his feet are free.
Yeah.
So now he's in here, and he can only really do this.
Kind of stuck.
Yeah, it's kind of stuck. But he can fire the drone, which can come over here and grab the item and then recall. Okay, but now what? That doesn't work. We can't grapple our way out of this. That's unfortunate. Okay. But what we can do is Axiom Verge speedrunning allows something called print screen buffering. So basically what I'm going to do is I am going to press the print screen button, and that is going to eventually slow down the game to a crawl. And then I'm going to hold down the jump button, and Trace is going to jump out of collision because the game simulation is slowed down enough that it gets confused about whether he is in a valid position or not. And it just shunts me back to the position he was in when I did the grapple clip.
That's awesome. Okay, cool.
And so now you are free to, having collected the item in the map tiles here, just move on with your life. And so we come down here, we kill some weird coral things, and now we come over here. So through this door to our left is the trench coat that we so dearly want. And we could go down to the bottom of this room, down into another room, all the way around to another door on the top left of that room, go up through that door, climb all the way to the top of that room, and get the trench coat that way. Or we could grapple clip.
Of course we do a grapple clip.
And here is trench coat.
Perfect.
If you were doing any percent, you would throw your drone to collect that and then immediately save warp back to the place that we were earlier. But in 100%, you actually want to fall to the bottom of this room and collect this item because it's faster it's almost always faster to go down than it is to go up.
Yes, absolutely.
So then at that point, we would basically just save warp again. And this is actually because I came through this room showing us the hallucination sequence. This is taking us. The game auto anchors you to the save point when you go through it in the hallucination sequence.
Makes sense.
After the hallucination sequence is over, you don't get auto anchored to that anymore. But we don't actually want to be here. So let's go Area 5, save room 1. All right, and that's going to bring us back here. I'm going to go ahead and resave here. Because we're going to be coming back here.
Okay.
So go ahead and grab the note just because we're talking about 100%. Door grapples are fun, but they're also super weird. You wouldn't actually do this in a run, but you can actually door grapple here too. You have to do it a little bit differently on the one that is in... on the one that leads up to Ukana, you can actually fire the grapple forward and catch onto the door as you're going up. In this, you actually have to swing the grapple upward at the door as you're going through to get it to attach at the right time.
Oh my
and
God.
now, unless I press a button, I'm actually just going to sit here forever. Just like literally forever. But if I press right, I'll start swinging. And then I'm going to unlock the camera. You can kind of see that I'm just like sort of moving slowly, ever so slowly through. And eventually it's going to drag me up here, and then it's going to drag me there. And this is actually where we want to be. I'm going to let go here.
Oh, okay. Otherwise, how far would you actually go up? Like into the middle of the room? Or?
If you continued, you would actually go all the way out into the upper portion of this room. Actually, you know what? Let me show you what happens when that happens. Because it's actually kind of interesting. One of the things that's really interesting about being in an unloaded room that I want to mention that I haven't mentioned so far is that the background that you see is always determined by the room that's loaded and not by the room that you're physically in. That is, the background is a completely separate layer from the map tiles that you're in, and it is loaded in with every room that you're in. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to grapple here again. I'm going to press left this time so that it actually drags me really quickly. It's going to drag me way, 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 way up top. This is the farthest right room in Eden, the area that we're in right now. And I'm going to go ahead and grapple swing. You can actually, this is the sky. You can grapple the sky. So fun story. You can't see it when the camera isn't unlocked ever. But wow. One of the things that's kind of interesting is there's supposed to be like a night sky here and like all of that sort of stuff. There's also supposed to be a bunch of glitch blocks here, and I think I might actually be able to interact with some of them even. Oh yes, here I'll be able to show you in just a moment. So you see how there's this hollow right in front of me?
Okay.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Nope, they're all. Oh yes, there we go. So there's one block here that is just like.
I see it.
Right. Okay. So, but I can walk through the rest of this just fine. It's not a big deal. And if I come in here, right, this will load the correct background for the room that I'm in, the silo. There's big robotic bodies here. That's great. And if I walk back out here, you can see the like fields and the sky and like this is what the background of this area is supposed to look like. But also there's this big honking wall of stuff in my way and I can't go through it.
Oh, so now you're stuck. Okay.
Well, this is actually kind of intended, or intended. It's not actually that I'm stuck because in this room there is this item, the address bomb, which would let me clear that stuff out. But this is the final upgrade of your glitch weaponry. Like you get a glitch gun, right? It goes up 2 levels and then you get an address bomb, right? And I can't use my glitch gun on the stuff outside, but I can use this. Right, so I could actually just go back out there now and use this to just like come over here and oh, is it not firing? How do I fire this in? I forget how to. Is it? No. What's the keyboard button for firing this? I'm gonna look it up.
I don't know. I wish I could help you.
Address bomb is E. There we go. I don't have the correct controller binding for doing that from my controller. unfortunately. Okay, so right, that cleared all of that stuff out. And now even that like one block that I was actually able to stand on and interact with isn't here anymore. And why
Whoa.
exactly that stuff gets cleared out, it's not clear. Right, so I want to, I'm going to show you something else. So by putting my drone outside the room that Trace is in and recalling it, this room is going to be reset. All of the enemies are going to be back here and everything. I'm going to go ahead and clear them all out again.
Then that's back. Okay.
Yeah, and this stuff is of course also back. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to door grapple. Again, you don't have to do door grapples on area transition doors. You can do it on any door that has an overhang. It can be a little hard to do it on certain kinds of doors, but here, I have to position myself at like a very specific place. There we go. So what that's going to do is that's actually, oh no, I door grappled too high. If I had done it at the correct height, which I'm going to try to. See? Yes, okay, so it dragged me back. It dragged me back into the room that I was in, right? Because the grapple was attached here. So it was like, oh no, you need to be swinging way out here where you are. That's not right. You can't be through that door.
Right.
Right. So now I'm in this room unloaded, and you can see the background of the silo is here. But all of this stuff is now solid because we loaded into the room. So we loaded into the room, right? And it knows these blocks are here. And it keeps two rooms in memory at any given point in time. The room that's loaded and the last room that you were in, it keeps that state at all times. So because these had already spawned, they're here now.
It still knows, yeah.
Right, but there's another interesting thing about this. They're just solid tiles. They can't be cleared by the glitch bomb. And this is true of drill blocks as well, or any other destructible stuff. Like, when you are in the room with it unloaded, it is completely impervious. You can't pass through it. You can't break it. It's just there. It's just a wall. So being in a room unloaded has its advantages. There are no enemies here, of course. But there are also things that just get like very, very stuck for you at that point. So we're gonna go ahead and save warp again. It's gonna bring us back here. I'm gonna take you through the area the way that we actually go through it in the run now.
In the run, yeah, exactly.
Yes,
We got like a good hard look at why the other thing doesn't work, which is actually really cool.
Yeah, and so the thing about door grappling here is that it pulls you wherever the grapple is attached, right? And the grapple is attached according to what the XY coordinate of the attachment is here. So you can't pull yourself to the left. There's no way for you to door grapple in here and get pulled to the left, which is the place that we want to go. So that's not useful for runs. It is useful for out of logic checks and randomizer though. So,
okay, sure.
You know, hey, that's cool. The reason that I grappled across that is because there are actually zombies buried in the floor, like waiting to jump out at me in this room.
Oh, okay. I just thought it was faster, but
so it's actually technically faster to dash.
now that you have that, okay.
Yeah, now that I have this, and I just want to like, let's see if I can get myself in position, or no, I guess probably not. I probably can't grapple onto this thing in the way that I need to in order to do that. So there's another way to set up for door grapples that involves using the... Oh, no, never mind. I can do it. There we go. So I could, if I wanted to, door grapple in here and do this room unloaded. Just to kind of like reinforce that door grapples are like not this exceptional thing that you have to do on area transitions. But so what we have to do is kind of climb this tower in this area. And so there's this thing up here that has all of this breach blocking the doorway to it. And there's a couple things going on here. Well, one, my God mode is disabled. So, right. So we can't pass through this. If we had the address bomb, we could, but actually getting in to get the address bomb is actually kind of slow in a run. At least doing it the way that I did it. also doing it the normal way, because doing it the normal way takes you on just like a real wild goose chase. So you really have two options for getting in here without the address bomb.
Okay.
One is that despite the fact that this does damage when I touch it, the wall itself is only 2 tiles thick, so you can just do that. You can just dash right through it while you're in iframes. The other thing is that although you can't normally upward dash through 2 tiles, even though your horizontal dash is 2 tiles, you can do what's called grapple coding, where at the apex of your swing, you do an upward dash. And again, because the game is primarily using Trace's feet to check, it
thinks you're like in that tile above you for like a moment.
Yeah, in that moment, Trace's feet are in the tile right below the floor and can go up 2 tiles, or can go up 3 tiles.
His visuals keep disappearing. I know it's during the dash, but it feels like it's very. It holds on to that disappearing state.
Yeah. So I mean, your dash is instantaneous movement. And you get this like little after image, as well as like just little like glitchy effects on the
Maybe it's just in that other room. It would like only show part of your weapon sometimes, but that's not important.
Also, if you dash into a wall, you get this little error sound effect, which is great, by the way. I like that a lot. So, oh boy, Eden Tower. Eden Tower is a really difficult part of the any percent run, and is a really finicky part of the 100% run. I actually rerouted this area by changing the way that we used the glitches here from the way that we use them in any percent. Oop, I did bad there. Okay, no, never mind. Everything's fine. Nothing bad happened. Everything's fine. These little like will-o-wisp things will latch onto you and leech your health and then spawn a bunch more. So you really don't want them to touch you. But they are very cool enemies. There are a couple of like life-draining, sucky things in this. Obviously, like Metroid inspirations. Okay, so a couple of things about this area. I'm going to turn God mode back on because I want to show all of the various things. So remember, we need to get all of the map tiles, and we also need to get all of the items. So really quickly, there is a health power up in here. So that's a free, 100 hit points.
Would you usually send a drone?
Well, unfortunately, the drone can't get way up there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The other thing is that you'll notice that on the left side of the screen, after you get through the two drone tunnels, there is a 2-tile thick wall with those like little stereo things. I don't know what else to call them aside from speakers. And the drone can't pass through walls. All right, so keeping that in mind. Let's return to this room. So up here, did I not turn God mode back on? I did not. All right. No, we'll fix it. It's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Okay. So there's also a little drone tunnel here, and again, there's free space up here, but the drone can't get there. The drone is just like not able to jump high enough. All right. Well, that's a problem. There is also a little secret room over here that has a note in it, and a map tile for us. So
what do those do?
Notes are lore. If this is indecipherable, but there's actually a passcode that will like translate that into English for you. It looks kind of like it's Russian, but it's not. It's just a character substitution on English text. But if you enter the passcode into your passcode tool, which by the way, we have a passcode tool. Fun fact about the passcode tool, it has an homage to the original Metroid. Oops.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
So now we're in a Speedo. I'm just gonna do the rest of this like this. Let's just do it in a Speedo. All right. So there's this little area down here, and actually you'll notice that there's like another little alcove below me.
Yeah.
Inside some drillable blocks down there. Like I can send my drone through here, but there's nothing it can drill through over there. Can't get anywhere. there is actually another note.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then up and to the right is the door that leads us to the boss room, and there's a save point above that, or next to it anyway. And then there's this thing over here. And that's actually in the room to the left over there is what's called drone teleport. It is an ability that allows us to teleport to our drone's position instead of recalling our drone to us. So we have to get all of these items. We have to collect all of these map tiles. And on top of that, we want to do another glitch when we get out of here. So first of all, I'm not gonna. I am gonna fight the boss because I can show you. It's not exactly a glitch, but it's very glitch adjacent.
Oh, cool. Okay.
That we do during the boss fight. And I am going to I'm going to turn off God mode. I shouldn't need it for this, but I am going to save a state here in case something bad happens. So this is Uku. Uku is a big wasp. So to get that map tile, what I did was something called a rocket jump. Mm-hmm. So basically, I dashed at exactly like the as I was jumping, and then I dashed again at the apex of my jump. That's the Uku quick kill. Uku shoots these little wasps out at you. And yeah, so let me stop and talk about that for a second. Okay, so Uku is only vulnerable when it opens its mouth, which it only does every so often to either scream at you or spit acid at you. It also shoots these little like tiny wasps, these little baby wasps at you in groups of 3. And if you glitch them, they just start falling, and if they hit the floor, they start rising. And when you blow one of them up, they all blow up at the same time, and that explosion can damage you. But it can also damage Uku. So if you manipulate Uku's position such that after he does the first round of little wasps, one of them happens to be hanging out right around his mouth, and then you blow them up right when he opens his mouth, he dies in one hit.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's super cool. That's really cool to take advantage of that.
That is the Uku quick kill. Awesome. Okay, so let's talk about rocket jumps for a second. So when I jump, there's a cooldown, or when I dash, there's a cooldown before I can dash again, right? And you can actually kind of hear it. There's that like little click, like high-pitched click sound. That tells you when you can dash again. But you can actually buffer the dash into the jump so that you dash right as you're jumping, which means that your cooldown will reset at the apex of your jump, and you can dash again, and that gets you just enough height to get the map tiles at the top of this room without having to come back with something else.
That's really cool.
That's rocket jumping. It's actually used for movement in some of the runs. I don't really use it outside of the Uku fight. But yeah, you can use that during that fight. You can use those rocket jumps to get those map tiles during the fight without having to leave the room and come back. So when we come through this, this gets us drone teleport, right? Okay, cool. So really quickly, I'm going to show you how we get drone teleport in any percent. So this one's really fun. Okay. So something weird happens because you actually have multiple ways to input things in the game. I can hold down on my D-pad, and I can double tap up to dash up on my left analog stick at the same time. Okay. And what happens when you do that is you get stuck in a ceiling and the game tries to correct it, and now I'm here inside of this tunnel.
Yeah, now you're just
half embedded, right? But remember the print screen buffering that we did earlier? We can use that to walk through the wall. And now we're here, and we can dash through here and send our drone through and pick up drone teleport without ever fighting Uku. And that is how it is done in 100% items, and it's how it's done in any percent YMG.
Oh.
There are not many places in the run where that gets used. It's just there are not that many places where you can actually do it to begin with. And there's also not that many places where it's actually useful. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and save state here again. And I'm going to kind of purposefully take some damage, kind of a lot of damage, actually. As much damage as I can reasonably get without dying.
Right.
And I am going to send my drone all the way here to the right-hand side of this. And now I'm going to die. I'm going to die on purpose. And that is going to send me back to the save point that we had before over here in Indy.
Okay.
So whenever you put the drone somewhere and either recall it to trace or drone teleport, the game stores the drone's last valid position is not reset. So remember, Trace had a last valid position that the game was trying to correct to when we did all of our other funky wall tricks, including Krill Rocket. Well, the drone also has a last valid position for the same exact kind of position correction stuff. When you recall the drone to Trace and the drone is not out, its last valid position just doesn't get updated anymore until it comes back out again. Now, that's not generally that useful, except there's no floor underneath this lava.
Oh, I see.
So while I'm hanging out here, it looks like Trace is just... I'm actually going to turn on God mode. You can actually still drown.
Taking damage.
Yeah, but you'll see Trace is like just floating. And the reason for that is that he's falling into an out of bounds position and the game is just correcting him to his last valid position endlessly. He's just sitting there forever, more or less. But the drone egg does not, until it gets hatched, doesn't get position corrected like that. So now it's out of bounds. It's just kind of like falling forever. It'll keep doing this. But if I press the drone launch button again, it will hatch and get corrected to its last valid position, which it turns out is way the heck up at the top of Kerr, right near where we want to go. And so we can put it through door, or we can put Trace through the door. It doesn't really matter. And send the drone down here to pick up this item, which we really want. This is called Enhanced Drone Launch. So that's called a Void Warp.
That's super cool.
Void Warp...
Like it seems like it's something that... It seems really useful, like it should be incorporated more, so I'm surprised that it's not.
The Void Warping is actually incorporated kind of a lot.
Oh, it is?
And the reason that I saved a state before we did this is that this is the any % route. It has a death warp in it. And it is actually the old route for 100%. And by the old route, I mean, basically every version of the 100% route that I've ever known, except for the version that I rewrote. And just for some context, I hold the world record in 100% by like 5 minutes. Uses that death warp. To get up here and get this and kind of move on toward, because the eventual objective is to get the last coat upgrade, red coat, and then start cleanup. But so we have, there's a bunch of stuff here, remember, that we have to collect. Right, like there's this note, and really the way that we're supposed to get this note is by using drone teleport to get through there, but you don't have to do that. You can grapple clip. Oh, I'm not doing a good job of it right now. There we go. You can grapple clip into this alcove and get that before you ever go to fight Uku. And then you go fight Uku and you get drone teleport, right? And you just leave down this way, which is closer to where you are, right? And now if you were gonna do that death warp in 100%, you have to come down and get all of these items, and then you have to go back up. And you can't save warp back to the top, because if you do that, you lose the save point that you're going to use to do the death warp, void warp. The death warp, void warp, right? So we're coming back down here. We have to get all of these items on the way down anyway, right? Like, so this part is unavoidable. There is no way that anybody has found to get these specific items here without drone teleport.
Vanilla.
Yeah, without just doing them as intended.
Yeah.
Right? Though there is actually one cool grapple clip trick that I want to show. I totally forgot about. You need drone teleport to get through here, but for the second one, you can actually grapple clip to the other side. It's so much fun. And it's actually faster than throwing the drone out and sending it through. It's hard to time correctly when you're trying to do it under pressure. But it's grapple clips everywhere, literally everywhere. Speaking of which, okay, so we have this note, right? We could have gotten this on the way up. There's a reason that we didn't. The reason that we didn't is because you can actually grapple clip from here out into the big main room.
Whoa. So then it's better to do on the way when you're going back.
Yes.
Okay.
So now, if you were going to go back up and do the death warp, you wouldn't want to do that because coming down here doesn't help you if you're going to do the death warp.
Sure.
But we're not going to do the death warp. Instead, we're going to dash to the right twice until we get here. And then we're going to drop our drone about there. I think I did that right. We're going to find out. And remember that we would be doing this without the benefit of being able to see. And then we're going to come do yet another cool glitch. These sequences of glitches are really fun here. So we'll grapple clip through here. We'll do another rocket door. This is an area transition, so you'll notice the background music does not load here. Do another rocket door down there. And then, so... The thing that I'm about to do is nonsense. It makes no sense whatsoever. Nobody really
understands what we need for the show.
Exactly why it works, but it does. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how door transitions work before I actually do this. So the game expects you to enter a door from the pixel immediately to the left, right, above or below the door, right?
Sure.
Because under normal circumstances, that is always what you would do.
Okay.
If for some reason you find yourself embedded inside of a horizontal door, as soon as you press any direction, you will get door transitioned out to the left. If for some reason you find yourself in collision with a vertical door, you will always get ejected up.
Okay.
So what I am going to do now is the door that I am standing on is an area transition door. I'm actually going to show you so this is actually going to fade out and transition us between two different areas, right?
Okay.
So above this door, unlock it, there's nothing. It's out of bounds.
Oh.
What I am going to do is I am going to grapple straight above this. And this only works because I'm wearing the trench coat. It does not work once you upgrade to red coat. I'm going to dash downward into the door. And because that is an instantaneous movement, it's going to embed me inside of the door's space, which will eject me out of... Here, hold on a second. I'm actually going to... let me
gonna run back there. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna run back there a little bit. Area 5, save room 1.
Okay.
That's where we want to be. This is gonna take us right back out here. So I'm gonna do it with the camera unlocked so that you can see what's happening. So now the camera is unlocked, right? I'm gonna grapple and I'm gonna dash down. Oh, that did not work correctly because I actually was not in the right position. So you could hear the little error noise. There was a collision. There we go. Okay, now watch what happens with the door. I get ejected up out into the void. I'm out of bounds, so the game corrects Trace to his last valid position, which is still out of bounds.
Wait. So random. Okay.
Yes. Now, unfortunately, this isn't... Oh, actually, it is. So now... oh no, it was a little too low. All right, we're gonna set it up again.
Okay, I was wondering what happened.
Yeah, so what happened was I soft locked.
Oh no!
So,
okay.
I void warped the drone from there, and it was too low, so it got embedded into the floor instead of. And I'm going to set this up in a way that is. There we go. That is guaranteed to work. When I can actually see what I'm doing, and I'm not trying to do it the fancy way that I do for showing off when I do it in actual runs, because it's faster to be able to do it without having to see. It's not just because it looks cool, though it does look cool.
Right.
There is a really like easy, very safe setup for it. But so we're gonna go ahead and do this again. We're gonna get ejected out. Well, all right, so I hatched the drone, right? You can see from the map that the drone is in that room that we were kind of looking at.
Yes.
And I'm gonna press left, and the drone is gonna go through the door that it's embedded into.
Through door, okay.
And out into this room. Now, I already got the passcode tool before this run so that we would have debug mode, but this is where you would normally find passcode tool.
Oh, okay.
And so this warps you to passcode tool. For some reason I have enhanced drone launch, which I am not supposed to have. I'm gonna get rid of that.
We got it. We did get it earlier.
We got it before, but oops. Why didn't it actually do that? I'm confused. Let's try this again. We'll take it several times so that. Nope, it doesn't want to get rid of it. All right, we're stuck with enhanced drone launch. It's fine.
Okay. Will it still work? Okay.
Yeah, everything works pretty much fine. It's just that like normally we wouldn't be able to move this fast through the area. So there's this whole kind of like downward labyrinth area. You know, we pick up a note here and then we come out through here getting all of these map tiles. I already have them, of course, because I already went through this. This is stuff that you would have seen if I hadn't loaded into Kerr when we'd started. This is all like from the early part of the run. And then there's the save room. And I didn't actually want to save. I wanted to jump and set my drone up there, just kind of in the middle of this space right here.
Okay.
And now I'm not going to use the drone again. The reason that I'm not going to use the drone again is because we are going back to that lava with no floor under it.
Right.
And we are going to void warp again. So the thing about 100% is this game has lots of little mini dungeons that have like really obnoxious out and backs. So we're going to circumvent one of those, going to the general area that we want to go to by void warping to the end of it. So by setting the drone in that save point and then coming into this area and firing it into the no floor beneath the lava, we end up at this room where we pick up the reflector. It's one of the weapons that we don't use. There's 20 weapons in this game. We use 4 of them in 100%. And now we're just going to do this mini dungeon backwards. Just like normally you would come over to where the reflector is. You would come through here, you know, break through these walls and, you know, get that little health node fragment, and you would get all the way up to the reflector room and you would either save quit or you would have to just like turn around and walk back. But by void warping into the very end of it, we could just do it backwards. So every time we're gathering one of those tiles, we're going in the right direction. We're already going the way that we want to go. And then we come out here and just head up this way and up here. This is the enhanced drone launch room. This is exactly where we wanted to go. So instead of just warping all the way up here, we do 2 void warps instead that end up saving us multiple minutes of travel. It actually saves a really large amount of time.
Yeah, I was gonna ask like if you know if there's like a percentage that you would think of, or you said like minutes of time that's actually saved here.
Yeah. So when I came up with when I finally came up with the whole route that went into this, that void warp sequence, I found the save room void warp that takes you into the drone dungeon to get reflector. But Beef was the one who found the setup for getting to passcode tool room. And that was what made the whole thing actually work.
Oh, okay.
Right. Like before that, I didn't really have a way to link that second void warp with to the rest of the run. There was still this like weird gap between getting drone teleport and coming down, and like what else would you do? And And so Beef set that up. And so when I finally set that up in the run, it was the very first time that I did it, I had already saved a minute over the previous world record.
Oh, wow.
And then I got booped by like 12 seconds.
Okay. Then this new variation.
And then this new variation came around, and then so what happened? I'm trying to think about the history of it. I had third place. I got booped out of third place by like 12 seconds. And then I got world record in response.
Nice.
And that was using the old version of the route still. That was just movement.
Oh, wow.
And then I came up with the new route with the void warps and with a couple of other routing changes in it. So it's not just that. And I hadn't gotten a run going in it yet when Orloff, who's the second place runner in it and was also second place at that point in time. She had world record when I had gotten it. Used my new route, completed a run before I did, and booped me by, I think, again, a handful of seconds. And that same night, I was like, all right, I'm like a little bit frustrated that I didn't manage to get a complete run on this route before somebody else did after I came up with it. So I just did a run with it. And so the world record at that point was a 122 something.
Okay.
I got a 118.59 with the new route.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then
Huge.
slightly just before Frame Fatales, I got a 117.05 with it and made enough mistakes that 116 something is totally viable.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yes. So it's been a long road. We've done a lot with this category.
Yes.
There's not that many runners of it. I really, really do encourage anyone who thinks that any of this is at all interesting to come check it out. I promise that the glitches look way more intimidating than they actually are. With a little bit of practice, you too can be door grappling and void warping like a pro. Speaking of door grappling and glitches, so I want to talk a little bit about the. So this is Ekurma. It's also known as Temple. I'm going to show you something really quickly. That does 150 damage every time these little gold bullets. I'm going to turn God Mode back on now. Deal damage to me. If I take a body shot from these little sentries, it doesn't do nearly as much damage. But they are very vicious, and everything in here is like super vicious. There's just lots of damage to be had everywhere. There's also these gold doors. There's only 2 of them, but they're very obnoxious in this area. And they are they require an item called the Sudran Key.
Okay.
And to get the Sudran Key, you have to go through this entire labyrinthine thing.
Of course.
So we do this in No Major Glitches. It's terrible. Everybody hates Key Room. You send your drone through here. There's no way to get through that without using drone teleport. There's no like fancy glitches in that one.
Okay, but instead.
This is I'm going to show you. This is Key Room. Look at all of these sentries. There's 3 in the first area, another middle one. There's another 1, 2, 3, 4 over here. And then, so these are all drill blocks, but look how long they take to drill through. This is pain. This is
never make it as well with all those things shooting at you.
Yeah, no, the movement through this room is really rough, even if you know it well. And then here is the Sudran Key, and if you pick it up, then it'll open those gold doors. Okay. Cool. So now we've got that context. Once you have that, you can come back to the main lobby, go through that first gold door that I showed you, and climb way the heck down into the depths of the temple through a room called Green Hell, so called, as I have observed many times, because it is both green and hell. It is full of just like really horrible things that will murder you. And there are like 4 different types of enemies in that room. One of them is the gold sentries. There's these bushes that latch onto you and drain your life very, very quickly. There are dark green bushes that just do lots of damage when they hit you. And then there are things that jump out of the floor at the bottom of it that also do just like massive quantities of damage. Okay. So we don't like doing any of that. So instead, we're going to door grapple. It's actually faster to just load state than it is to go back through. Okay. Go. Oh, again, door grappled not quite at the right height. I think this should be better.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, there we go. So now I'm gonna show you, so this is Green Hell. This is the room that we're in now is Green Hell. If I were to load this room normally, it would be full of enemies that are just absolutely awful. But because we are in here unloaded, it is not. And generally speaking, when you are done with your little grapple trick, you will end up right here. If you are actually doing this blind, I had unlocked the camera to show you kind of where we ended up, but I'm going to do it again with...
That was a lot, it seems like.
Yeah. So the camera moves all the way over here, and then once it stops moving, you can release. Yeah. So I was kind of like stuck there, but I could dash downward. If you break the grapple too early, you will actually end up in this little like alcove to the left. And that is a soft lock. There is no way to get out of that. You're completely stuck. But once the camera, if you just wait for the camera to basically be stopped moving, then you can let go, dash down. You're totally fine. Very, very good visual cue. So now we have to navigate through this area, and frankly, like I'll show you what it looks like. There's these stairs here, and then you fall down here, and all the way down here, and then you have to come down here to a door, right? I
like how even with the way you're doing it, it doesn't feel like it's that long, but still just compared to what you actively do in the run, it's like, oh gosh, it's such a drag.
Yeah. So, I mean, we are actually going to traverse all of that distance, but in run conditions, you have to do it like this. You're just going to be staring at this screen the whole time.
Oh, gosh.
But remember that there's an audio cue when you run into a wall with your coat. Dash, dash, dash. Oh, no, that's a wall. So now we jump. Oh, that's a wall. I'm going to jump. Okay, so now we're on top of the stairs. We're going to fall. Now we dash to the left. We're going to dash to the left until the camera starts to move left. Oh, hey, it moved left. All right, cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dashes. And there's the door.
Oh my goodness. That's awesome, though. I mean, it's cool. It's just like it's learning a little blindfolded section of the run, which is always very impressive.
The blindfold movement in this, it looks... also, I want to show you this. So these are the jumpy enemies. Here, let me turn God mode off for a second. That does a little over 1 full bar of health.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So not as much as the gold sentries, but still a lot. These bushes, let's see if I can get one to hit me. That does almost a full bar.
A lot too.
And then the light green ones just drain you.
They stick on you, yeah.
Yeah. So there's like our Metroids. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. So we basically don't have to do any of that going forward.
Yeah.
Now we do have to come back through that room to get the map tiles, right? This is 100% that we're talking about. It's you need those map tiles. They're very important. We absolutely have to like map out all of Sudra, or else we're not doing our jobs as theoretical physicists.
Right.
So we come
back
into this
to the little bit of plot that we know.
Yeah. So these drill blocks, once they're only 2 thick, you can dash through them. That's not a glitch. That's just normal mechanics. But a lot of people will just sit there and drill through those, even though they take a really long time. You don't have to. This is Redcoat. This is what we came here for. And Redcoat gives us a 3-tile long dash. And that streak, during this dash, we do damage. And we break all drill blocks instantly. And on top of that, you just have ridiculous iframes during your dash. So, hold on a second. I'm gonna turn off God mode. I'm gonna save state because I'm very low on health. But
it would like still show us for sure.
So I took a little bit of damage, but I did not die.
Right.
Ooh.
Oh.
There we go. There's a health node fragment hidden up here, which will refill my health. So
oh, cool. That's perfect.
We're good. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and turn God mode back on. But basically, at this point, you're just going to use your red coat dash and your enhanced drone launch. Oh, I forgot to mention this. This is actually not really intended behavior. We don't class it as a glitch, but
like the jumping and then throwing and how far that goes.
Yeah. So how far it goes is not a glitch, but if you listen to the sound effects after I throw the drone and teleport, I'm just jamming on the drone button, but there's this period of time where I'm not able to shoot the drone again. I don't have a cooldown. But if you look at my normal movement, I'm throwing the drone willy-nilly. Like there's what cooldown? You'll also notice that my drill is popping out periodically.
Oh, okay.
Well, the reason for that is
that
if you fire either your glitch gun or your drill, it instantly resets the cooldown on your drone throw. So you can just do it again immediately.
So it's actually kind of similar to in Splatoon, you have sub-weapons, and you can actually use the D-pad in the first Splatoon game to switch back and forth between those sub-weapons immediately, and that resets the maximum strength on your normal shooting gun.
Oh, that's really interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, it's kind of a similar theory. Instead of you having to basically when you start shooting your gun in Splatoon, you have a more forceful amount that comes out really quickly. So if you reset those sub weapons, it resets that initial strength. So that's just what this reminded me of.
Yeah, that's actually
able to make a connection.
That's a really cool analogy. I like that. Yeah, because it's very similar. It's seemingly unrelated things interacting in ways that you wouldn't expect. Right?
Yeah.
There's no reason for there's no logical reason for either of these things to reset the cooldown just on firing the drone.
Weapon switching resets cooldowns for whatever reason. Yeah. For sure.
Except you even can fire it while the drone is out. So the important thing about another important thing about this is that because these doors happen to be 3 tiles thick, now that we have red coat, we can just dash right through them. We need to collect the key because this is 100%. And we also need to collect this note here, which is also, again, much faster to do because we can just dash through the wall. Mm-hmm. And also don't forget to collect your map tiles. But this is very much easier and safer to do once you have red coat. And so doing it backwards, this room, normally you have to go to the end of this hallway, let this drone chase you, dash through this wall, come up here while this drone is shooting at you. Mm-hmm. No. We come here.
Way too much.
We grapple code through the floor. That's
Perfect.
it. We come over here to get the map tile, and then we leave.
Perfect.
We don't need the key to get this power node. Those little octagons, those are power nodes. They increase how much damage we do.
Okay.
So those are big important over the course of the run. Mm-hmm. And again, we still have to do key room, right? There's no way to glitch our way through this.
Sure.
But
now it's getting so wild.
But we have so much better movement now because red coat, in addition to making us move faster, gives us a bunch of iframes and lets us drill through these blocks like nobody's business. Hidden note over here. I'll just take that. Thanks very much.
They're already done.
These things were pain before, but now...
Holy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then, we just save warp our way back over here.
Oh my
gosh. So, at this point, we're basically in cleanup. And there's a couple... Wait. Reloading actually took the enhanced drone launch from me, finally. I'm going to give it back to myself because we actually need it for the rest of the... There we go. So from here on out, there's just cleanup. Everything is like everything that we do. And so I'm going to show a couple of things in cleanup that are, oops, that is actually not the way that I wanted to go. We would have come through there if we had not done the Gertab skip earlier. Oh, actually, I wonder if, yeah, no. We do actually have to come back here for the map tiles.
Okay. Oh, got you just on the map tiles.
Yeah. Yeah. So that exit through that upward door is actually much more difficult than I'm making it look.
Yes, I was wondering if that, can you do that casually? You do. I mean, obviously.
I mean, you can do it casually.
To.
No, you are not supposed to go up through this door. Okay. I'm landing it like nothing is wrong, but it's very easy to like clong against the door instead of actually going through it.
Yes.
So that's one of those things that's just like a little weird.
Yeah.
So when we're kind of going through cleanup, so we come back through this area, right? Like this is where we were when we did the Gertab skip earlier. The upper portion of Kerr is full of these like big rooms. And one of the best things about these big rooms, aside from like laser beams hidden in the walls, is the opportunity for more grapple clips.
Yeah.
So we're basically able to, oops, that's not the right position for that. So we're basically able to grapple clip through a bunch of stuff in order to make our way through the rooms faster. Awesome. I'm not actually going to bother with all of Upper Kerr cleanup because most of it is not glitchy.
Yeah. Totally fair.
And there is another thing about cleanup that is a little bit funky. And this was one of the big changes that I made when I started rerouting things. So this door right here leads us back to the right side of Eden, over where those glitch blocks were earlier, where I got a dress bomb.
Yeah, the one that you had to move.
Yeah.
Against the wall. Yeah.
So the old version of the route would come down this way. So this is the way to high jump. And there are actually, so over here, so there's an item hidden over here in a secret wall over there. There's a drill wall over there that only your drone can go to. And as you can see, there's another secret passageway, just like way at the end of this, there's another item. And as you can see, there's like a secret passageway over here. And if we go through this, area kind of normally, those krill, those floating, that can be glitched into floating platforms, they're in here. The way that you're kind of supposed to do this room is to glitch them and ride them up, but they move so chaotically that nobody does that. Yeah. So we use drone teleport. There's another weapon here that we don't use. And then, there's a few more map tiles down here. And then there's a door out here that leads you into the high jump room. And you can't come through in normal play from the left side of this because there's no way to deactivate this really, really thick, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tile laser wall from the other side. Without weapons that don't exist in speedrun mode. They exist in the game overall, but there are actually some things that just don't exist in speedrun mode.
Interesting. There is a question in chat for you, actually.
Yeah.
Do the secret glitch rooms count toward the map tiles?
Okay, so great. Let's talk about that. So in story mode, there are these things called hidden worlds. And they're basically, the plot talks about them as being like pocket dimensions of garbage data. And they have items in them. You can get some extra items in them, health node fragments, size nodes, and then one of 3 secret weapons in each playthrough. So in every playthrough, you spawn one of heat seekers, fat beam, or scissor beam. And Fat Beam can deactivate that switch from the left side of the room, but nothing else can, because Fat Beam has effectively infinite range. It can actually hit switches in rooms that are not loaded. It's really funny.
Oh my gosh, wow.
Yeah. Anyway, those worlds, those secret worlds, their locations and contents are randomly generated. It's a fix. There's 5 of them, and there are 2 easy ones, 2 medium ones, and 1 hard one.
Sure.
In every story mode file that you start. However, they're not generated at all in speedrun mode or randomizer mode.
Okay, so it doesn't count toward 100% then, since they wouldn't be there.
Yeah, they just don't exist in speedrun mode, so they don't count toward 100%. They also don't count in your story mode playthroughs. They don't add percentage at all to either your map or your item
even like the
location.
additional like health or weapon.
Yeah, even the additional items, they don't count toward your percentage. So every item in the game, even like duplicate copies of the same thing, it has an ID associated with it. And that ID basically tells the game whether or not you've collected that particular item or not. And if you pick up duplicates of the same ID, and there's only really one place that in the entire game that you can do that, it doesn't count that ID more than
like
once.
won't register it.
Yeah, and it's actually the only thing that you can pick up in duplicate is a health node fragment. And if you pick up duplicates of it, you don't get extra health node fragments. It's not just that it doesn't increase your percentage. It like doesn't. It's the same item as far as the game is concerned. You already have that one. It doesn't count.
Okay.
But when it goes to calculate your percentage, it does it out of the 125 item IDs that are in the main areas of the game.
That are not going to be randomly loaded.
It just doesn't include the IDs for the hidden world items, even though they have IDs, right? Like they exist. They don't get duplicated, but so that was the Room of Pain in the back area there. And normally, so in the old version of the run, people would do that immediately at the end of Kerr cleanup, and then they would go immediately into getting all of the map tiles in Indy, which is the long like column area with the big moving head.
Sure.
But this exit to Eden is right here. It's right here. And
so
really,
you want to stay near it.
Really, the only thing that is stopping us from doing this right now is this wall.
What's this thing that we saw earlier?
Yeah, it's this thing that we saw earlier.
Yes. Now I have the visual now. I'm good.
Okay. Well, if we had to go all the way to the underside of Indy, or the underside of Eden, and grapple clip to get up here so that we could get around, that would be slow and it wouldn't get us the map tiles in this room. We would have to travel kind of a long way, and then we wouldn't have these map tiles. So that's not what we want to do. We want to get these map tiles. So we'll come in the exit over there, and we'll get those map tiles. Oop, I forgot a map tile. Don't forget your map tiles. And then there's this little thing over here, right? Like we want these map tiles. There's actually 2 items hidden in here. A power node and a full health node, which is why I was not super worried about my health.
Oh, they're next to each other.
Yeah, they're next to each other.
Nice.
Okay, but now we still have a problem. We still have a problem. There's more zombies buried in the ground. If you're wondering why I'm being super precious about flinging my drone, it's that.
I see.
There's more of them. There's plenty more of them. Okay, so now we have a problem. We have that glitch barrier at the bottom. We have a dress bomb, but because I did things out of order in the run,
not supposed to.
Yeah, you're not supposed to. So what do? Well, it turns out the same thing that we did for the hallucination sequence skip, we can do that same basic thing right here, only we can actually see what's going on. And in my opinion, that makes this harder. So this is called Silo Clip, and it takes us right down here. And then we can basically just get those map tiles and come back in here, and now Silo is loaded, and we can get the map tiles and grab the address bomb, and
perfect. Yeah, now you're on the correct side.
Yeah, this is not how the game expects us to come into this room, though.
Right.
Game expects us to come into this room from this door.
Okay.
I wonder what's up there.
Like, do you need to?
Well, this is a pretty vanilla room. What's in here?
I'm gonna mark this area, boss.
This is well, sort of. It's locked off like a boss room. There's two of these little regeneration chambers, and in one of them, there's this thing. It doesn't shoot at you; it just kind of hangs out here. But it does register a split as a boss. You'll notice I have splits up in my HUD, and you'll see clone at 153, 42, 59. In story mode, there would be a cutscene after that sequence that automatically kills Trace. I'm not actually going to go into the lore behind it.
Good.
But
good. I can think of some interesting theories.
So we were supposed to come in from this door into the clone room and then go around into the silo, but we came around the other way instead and did that. So now we have to do another up door. That one's a lot easier because you have a place you can grapple onto.
Yes.
It's very important to make sure you get this right map tile here. Just like standing on the right-hand side of the door gets it for you, but if you miss it, it's terrible. This save room is the worst save room in the game. This is another one. If you pass over this, you'll get automatically anchored to the save room. And I think sending the drone there may have actually anchored me to it. I'm not totally sure. But you want to fling the drone across and hatch it on the other side so that you don't get anchored to that.
This is not a good place to want to respawn to.
I mean, it's not terrible, but it's like not the best.
Yeah.
There's a hidden passage over here. When we're on our way out of here, we're actually gonna grapple clip back down.
Okay.
Just grapple clipping is so fast.
Yes. I noticed. I know it's cool because it seems like it's something that, like, if somebody was going to learn this run, that would be something that they could potentially get the hang of pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's grapple clipping is really easy. You lock in place, to shoot forward, and then you just jump and up. This room has an incredibly high risk of crash. For me, and apparently only for me.
Okay.
Nobody else has encountered this, but I encounter it fairly frequently. I'm gonna manually save my game here in case it actually crashes, but I want to try and show. So, normally you go up here, you collect this item, right? Okay. And you're using your fast movement. You come down here. You want to go here. There's another item in here.
Oh, whoa, my God.
And then you want to come down here and you want to throw your drone again. All right, so it did crash that time, but like, I want to say something like, okay, there we go.
Crashed?
It crashed. So that's why you're seeing black screen there.
How do you keep getting it to crash if other people can't?
So I've actually kind of figured out what's going on here. Okay. I haven't figured out everything that's going on there. But I have an idea. So one thing that's kind of interesting about the drill specifically, well, there's two things that are kind of interesting about the drill. One is that it actually, if you have an analog trigger, you can actually partial drill. I'm slowly pushing down on the analog trigger and you can see that it's extending and spinning at different speeds until finally I can just kind of play with that, right? The other thing that's interesting about the drill is that when you're on the ground, it has a pushback effect. So based on the crash message, which is it's trying to do linear interpolation on something on the drill for the pushback effect. Okay. And it's encountering a value that's not a number. So there's something about, and I think it's about how many enemies are in this room. Because here, I'm going to go through this without using my drill this time. There's all of these crawlers. There's all of these flies, all of these little like bird things. There's just so much stuff in this room. And then there's all of these things are platforms. They're entities. So I think that because there's just so much stuff going on in the room at the same time, it doesn't initialize something about the pushback fast enough. Okay. And it crashes the game.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I am the only person who both uses drill to reset my drone instead of address disruptor. and plays on a controller that has an analog trigger. The only other person I know who uses drill to reset plays on keyboard.
Okay.
And so there's no analog trigger.
Gotcha.
And so there's no instant where the drill is only partially fired. So anyway, so we come out from that area now, and that is the first of several crashes I will actually be demonstrating.
Showing up,
later. I wanna kind of work our way through here. So there's a little like secret passageway thing down here. And so we're doing Eden cleanup now, right? And after I get this item, I would normally want to like go back out and then up and around into the big area where we went up into Eden Tower before, because there's a bunch of stuff to the left of that we didn't even touch. So I want to make a point here that I left Trace in a place where there were some drill blocks before. There used to be drill blocks here.
Okay.
Now remember, when I recall the drone from a different room than the room that Trace is in, the room that Trace is in gets reset.
Okay.
Everything respawns. So those drill blocks are going to respawn. Trace is going to be embedded in a wall.
Oh.
When have we had Trace embedded in a wall before?
In the beginning.
In the beginning, when we did the Go Tab skip, when we did Krill Rocket. So we are going to reset the drone, and what? Trace is all the way at the top of the room. Who could have seen that coming?
Yeah. Well, look at it go. That was so easy.
This is called a displacement warp. There are several other places that we use it over the course of the run. It's super fun. Anywhere where there is any kind of destructible block, whether it is glitch blocks, drill blocks, even the red bubble blocks at the very beginning of the game that respawn after like 7 seconds. If you have a drone with you and you can get it outside the room to respawn those blocks, you can displacement warp. So now that we have a dress bomb, we can get that weapon that's down there. It's called shards. We don't use it. We come down here and kind of snake around to get some more map tiles. And just like a little bit of S movement there.
Gotcha.
Ow! The worst item in the game. It's actually really deceptively hard to get in there and pick up that hypodermic needle. Don't do drugs, kids.
I was like, why do you need the needle?
So the needle does something, there's 2 of them in the game. And they do something a little interesting. When Trace's health is full, for each of the 2 needles that he's picked up, a pair of tentacles will just pop out of his back and start shooting bullets whenever he shoots.
Oh.
So it's a little extra firepower. It's not enough to make it worth anything. But it's part of the item list. So. And when you're finished doing Eden right to left, you're right here back in Ukan-Na. Now I'm actually not going to do. No, I actually do Ukan-Na cleanup at this point because it's faster to do most of it at this point. And I am actually going to show you. I'm going to show you the multiple upgrade pickup really quickly. Because I think it is a glitch. It's useless, but it is a glitch. And it's kind of funny. Okay, so really quickly, I'm going to save state. So these little sluggy, you see those green slugs that are crawling across the floor. If I get close to them, then they pop open and they release all of these bugs, and nobody likes it, and it's gross and yuck. The first time that you glitch one of these things, it will pop open to reveal a health node fragment. But until you collect the health node fragment, it will continue to pop open and reveal a health node fragment. So in this room where there are 4 of them, you can get up to 4 of these things to appear at the same time.
Oh.
Now, you'll see, if you look in my item list, right, I have 3 health node fragments, right, and 5 health nodes. I'm going to go ahead and pick one up. And as you expect, right, I have 4.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and pick another one up. 4. Go ahead and pick another one up.
It only counts as 1?
4. Yeah, this is the duplicate item that I was telling you about, where like it's the same item ID. So even though you pick it up multiple times, the game doesn't count you as having more than one of it. Contrast this with Super Metroid, where if you like use space-time beam to reset your game, you can pick up the same energy tanks or missile tanks multiple times, which is really fun actually and kind of funny. But so that one's kind of neat. I want to take a quick moment and try to talk about another kind of obscure and somewhat useless glitch. So, because we're in a good spot for it. We're actually in a pretty good spot for it.
Nice.
So you remember how I did the like grappling above a door and then down dashing into it back when I had trench coat to do that void warp. So that backdoored me through a vertical door.
Okay.
It ejected me up when I went down through the door, and instead of coming out through the door in the downward direction, I came out the upward direction. So that's backdoor. So if I stick myself in a ceiling like this and send my drone through to the other side, sometimes, and I don't totally understand why it doesn't always work, I can get Trace to actually pass through the door while he's basically the simulation messes up a little bit. I'm gonna see if I can make this work.
Okay.
So this is our area transition door into Eden, right?
Yes.
So theoretically, if I pop the drone here, okay, it worked.
Oh.
So now Trace is way the heck out of bounds here. Unfortunately, the drone's last valid position is right here.
Okay.
That's not that helpful.
Yes.
All right. But just to kind of show you what happened. Again, like if you understand the principle behind backdooring, this will be fairly obvious. But it did not work that time.
Oh, weird.
This one is actually like kind of finicky. Nope. So these horizontal backdoors are like dependent on the physics simulation updating in particular ways at particular times. Oh, there we go.
Got it.
Okay, and you saw he got pushed out to the left. So now the drone is actually like back in the previous area. So it's in a different XY position.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that XY position corresponds to out of bounds.
So it's stuck.
Yeah, and if I do it again, I drilled the void. Did you just crash the game? I crashed the game, yeah. So
just talk about it.
Yeah. So let's talk about what happened there. I tried to use my drill to reset my drone cooldown while I was out of bounds. And there are two things that the game really does not like you doing while you are out of bounds. One is grappling onto something, and the other is drilling. If you ever grapple or drill the void, the game will immediately nope out.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
At one point, I like hypothesized the meme category drill the void %, where it would just be like a rush to crash the game as fast as possible.
I love that. That's awesome.
But it turns out that there are lots of really interesting ways to crash the game, and that category would be very, very short indeed. I will be talking about some more crashes when we get to the story mode glitches too. How far in are we on the timer? I just want to like get a quick time check.
We are at 1 hour and 45.
Hour and 45. All right, cool.
So depending on how much longer you have for the speedrun mode, if you need to, like we always take our wellness break. So if you wanted to go ahead and do that coming up soon, we can, or we can wait until we're done with this because then we have story mode after.
Yeah, let's so let's go a little bit farther for this.
Sure.
And then when we get to about 2 hours, let me know.
Sure.
And we'll kind of move on or not move on. We can take a break then. I could use something to drink in the nearest future.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So after, this is how we were supposed to get into Ukana in the first place. You're supposed to have Address Disruptor 2 and come through these things. So this is, now you're seeing stuff that we should have seen like a lot farther earlier in the run. So I'm not actually going to go ahead and do it, but at this point in the run, basically we would drop down here, make kind of a U-turn into Indy, the big long corridor with the floating head, and go get all of the map tiles there. We would do Indy cleanup. And then we would save warp our way back into Ukana and come back out here into, this is the first area of the game, Erebu. And so there's this little drone mini dungeon, and there's a weapon at the end of this, so you send the drone all the way through, but you leave trace in that little trench where all of the breach blocks were, and at the end of this you recall the drone, and voila, you're at the top of the room again.
Oh, perfect.
So it's another little displacement warp.
Yeah, awesome.
Erebu is actually full of these. Displacement warps are really like the major glitch that we use at this point in the run. And I mean, not for the entire rest of the run, but like in Erebu specifically.
Okay.
So this is the first save point in the game. This is where you wake up at the very beginning of the game. This is the room where you get your first gun. And it turns out that up here, there's a little secret passageway.
Oh my gosh.
Right? And if we went to the left, we wouldn't do anything glitchy, but we would get the best weapon in the game, flamethrower. Which I'm gonna spare us actually getting flamethrower.
You're just gonna grab it now, yeah. That's a good call.
So now I have flamethrower. And I'm going to go ahead. I'm actually going to bind that to my primary fire. This is the best weapon in the game. I'm not going to use anything else. At this point in the run, you're basically just all flamethrower all the time.
Yes.
So this room is kind of weirdly shaped, but you can grapple code up here.
Oh.
And after making sure that you pick up this map tile over here, make sure you pick up that map tile. You can position yourself in these bubble blocks and fire your drone out here. And at the end of this room, there's a note. You walk all the way out here. Hey, look, a wheelchair. I wonder what that's about. I'm not going to talk about it. It's part of the story. It's pretty interesting.
I figured.
And now that's going to displacement warp us up here. We are not supposed to be here. We're supposed to use a passcode to get in here. I'll show you exactly what that's all about in a little while. But basically, if you just dash to the left until you get to this door, eventually you will be able to leave this room. And look, there's stuff above us. We should probably go check out what that's about, right? So
should we?
We should, because it's Thriller.
Oh, God.
Thriller night. This is Thriller Room. And so the deal with Thriller Room is, weirdly, there is this door with a barrier over here. I can't imagine why that would be. This is the room that you're actually supposed to enter into this area through, using the passcode from the passcode tool.
Oh, okay.
So I'm actually gonna show you what the intended route of that is in just a little bit. You hit this switch, that disables the laser barrier that was in this room. You would normally get that power node, but we're gonna ignore it. We don't really care right now, not for our purposes. Flamethrower. Okay, so there's nothing over here. It's just big, like weird looking alcove. But if you notice over here on the right side, there's this weird empty space, and there's something just kind of glitching in and out of existence there. And if we use our glitch gun over it, some weird text appears just underneath our minimap all right. So in our passcode tool, if we were to enter the password, and this is in a note for the game somewhere, reveal Sudran. The world that this takes place on is called Sudra. Their language is appropriately Sudran. And we glitch this stuff. Hey, look, now it's English text.
Oh.
And so that says Ikibu Labiru. So let's see what happens when we put that into our passcode tool.
That in.
Ikibu Labiru. Hey, look, there's a door.
Oh.
And if I were to go through this door, it's Thriller.
Nitty. Oh, it's from the other right.
Yeah,
Sneaky.
so that's how you're
Gotcha.
supposed to do that. It's a lot faster to displacement warp up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I love this section of cleanup. There's just like so much fun movement that you didn't get to do here from the beginning of the game. We wouldn't really do any more glitches, kind of getting to these areas. But there is something kind of funky that I do want to talk about as we kind of get out of here.
Sure.
So there's a bunch of cleanup that you would do at the top. I'm not actually going to do any of that stuff because none of that actually involves any glitches. Lots of just like precise movement and dress bombing and
For sure.
fun stuff like that.
Yeah, but we have enough else going on in this game.
So this is another passcode tool room. I'm going to show you something a little bit funky. So I am going to fire my address bomb and then immediately... Oh, nope, not yet. There we go. Okay, that's maximum slowdown. Watch the timer. The timer is counting up way slower than it normally would. The menu is going way slower than it normally would.
Yes.
And once I get here, my cursor movement is totally normal.
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah. So I can enter the passcode for this room, which happens to be Dalku Subtum. And I technically save time on the in-game timer. And because the runs in this game are timed on in-game time, that is a legal way to save some time.
Oh my gosh, because it's slow.
Yes. So there is a door. There is a door. This door is revealed by doing that.
Oh.
I'm going to show you something very, very silly now.
Okay.
So remember that if I recall the drone from a different room, Trace, it resets the room that Trace is in. And in this case, that includes sending back the blocks from the passcode tool. And you can actually see text in the wall there if you look.
Yeah, I can see it.
So if you hand translate that, that actually gives you the passcode for revealing that. But
okay.
So now I've zipped into this room. The reason that I'm showing you this is because this is here.
What is it? Oh.
What is this? This is the door. This is how that door gets swapped in. When
It's
you
sitting
input
there
the
right
passcode. It's hanging out in a little bit of map across the way. And when you enter the passcode, this little bit of map gets swapped in for the map that's there right now.
Oh, it's so weird. It's like waiting in storage in a way.
Yes. And
gosh.
there's nothing on the other side of this door right now, but if I go through it,
Push back up.
I'm pushed back up.
What?
Yeah. So that's but the bottom room is actually loaded now. So I can go ahead and activate the passcode, and then I can go through the door to come back out.
Okay.
So you're not stuck. You're not stuck, but
You got to know how to like reload it or think
yeah.
about
There's a lot of finicky stuff around reloading stuff in this game, and if you know how to manipulate it, there's a lot of fun that you can have just for the heck of it. Just for the heck of it.
Yeah.
And that's the last. That area is the last thing that you would do. That passcode room is the last thing you would do before you would come. This is the second area of the game. This is Absu. Absu is a lot. It's a big area, and there's just a lot here.
Yes.
It's very windy. It's hard to path through this area. The best route through this area, I'm not happy with it. I want more. I want it to be less. Okay. I'm trying to think of how to describe it, but like there's more backtracking than I wish there was. Like,
so this is this a section you're currently working on?
I wouldn't say that I'm actively working on it because I haven't like every attempt that I've made over the course of the past like year and a half at fixing Absu in any meaningful way has failed.
Okay. Gotcha.
But like you come up here, you do this attic section. There's a bunch of these breach walls here. This is fun. So this is really painful for verifiers. If you slow down the simulation, but then you pick up an item while the simulation is slowed down from an address bomb, it takes forever to pick up the item. But it slows down the in-game timer as well, so it's not a time loss. It's
goofy.
It's really mean to the verifiers. It takes like 45 seconds if you do it at the peak of the slowdown to finish the item pickup animation. Don't do it. I've done it a couple of times, but just because like I'm friends with these people and they're like, why did you do that?
Yeah.
And then they don't have to verify another run for like a year. So, and then you have to come back down here and you have to go get the save room. And I don't like all of the windy, like retreading my steps stuff that we have to do here. But if we were coming from earlier in the game, this is where we would have picked up our little like short range lightning gun weapon that we used to kill the scorpion boss real fast way the heck ago. There's a little like note in here that we can get now because we can pass through walls. But we can also pass through floors. So now we're in this little room down here.
Like always.
There is an item in this room, but we can't see it because the room is unloaded and items don't spawn in unloaded rooms. So we do have to reset the room by going out the door and coming back in it. And then we can just kind of zip out this way. This is actually one of my favorite little bits of routing in this area because otherwise you would have to come down here and then climb your way back up. But because you can zip your way or grapple clip your way down into the bottom area, you don't have to do that whole out and back thing. It's like actually a really nice loop for collecting the item and getting the map tiles. So the upper area here is what would have led us to the second boss. We did that earlier in the run. Well, I did that earlier in the run before we started here.
Before starting,
And let's see. There's nothing super interesting there. Trying to find. So there's a whole this whole thing ends up taking us to this bottom area of a room that we come to very early in the game. Like right after the second boss, we're in the upper chamber of this room, and leaving out the right-hand side of it is what takes us to the next area of the game, Z. So that save room that I took is the last save that we take in 100%. So we're actually like kind of toward the end of cleanup. We use it as a place to save warp back from a little out and back mini dungeon that's right here. Before moving on to finish the rest of Absu cleanup. There is a grapple clip in here that I'm going to show you, but we don't do.
Okay.
The reason that we don't, it's useful for randomizer, but the reason that there are a couple of reasons we don't do it. One, so there's this bottom chamber down here. One, it's very easy to get in here by just dashing.
Sure.
So it is technically faster to go straight down, but two, there's a little secret area here with an item.
Oh,
Since we have to pick this item up anyway, we might as well just come over here, grab this, and then drop down and dash through, since it's so much easier than doing a grapple clip. So doing it without glitch is there. But if you wanted to check this space out of logic in randomizer, you could grapple clip down here.
Okay.
That is very precise. It is an incredibly, I think that's probably one of the most precise grapple clips in the game. There's and
it's not big, like it's a small save essentially. Again, just for randomizer.
Yeah, it is a low window. There is an opportunity to do some of the like dash clipping into the ceiling glitches in that room, but it's actually not faster. I'm really sad because I'm the one who came up with using those clips in that room. But unfortunately, no dice.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you've done a lot, like made a lot of other contributions to the game, like especially with the routing. So, you know.
I mean, I'm not. I sound a little bitter about it just because like that area of cleanup is, I think, the least fun area of cleanup, and I wish. I wanted to find a way to make it more fun. I wanted to do that area and this area backwards somehow, or find some way to like void warp creatively in here and like.
Yeah.
It's
I get you. I totally get that
there's
feeling.
lots of things that should be like that feel like they should be opportunities, and that they don't just like and they just don't end up panning out. And that's always frustrating when you're trying to route, I think, is like you're so close to finding something and you just don't find anything. Right. I found plenty of things by like looking for something and then finding something completely different. And that's always fun when you're looking for something, very specific, and you find something completely different, and it's fantastic. And it turns out
That's true. I mean, you never know when you're going to have those moments where you're like, oh, suddenly this thing works instead. Oh. Yeah.
And a lot of my just like aimlessly running around the game looking for opportunities to save time resulted in reroutes that I wouldn't have even expected at the time.
Yeah.
And
so what are we doing now?
So I'm kind of meandering through Z cleanup. Normally I would have stopped and done a lot more stuff. But basically, eventually you're going to end up here. So this is a room that you can actually access relatively early. And if you have grapple, and you have lab coat, which is, you need lab coat to get grapple, so you would be guaranteed to, you can get up here and get this item.
Sure.
When you're coming from below, you actually want to exit out the top, so we can just grapple coat there. If you're playing randomizer and you want to get this, you can grapple clip down. So this is that's actually two-way, as long as you have a grappling hook, and a red coat. If it's one way if you don't have the red coat.
Okay.
You can only go down if you don't have red coat, but you can go both ways at this point.
In terms of 100%, like where would we be at right now?
We would be almost at the end of Z cleanup at this point. We would just have a few more things to get.
I don't know what Z cleanup like.
Sorry. Yes.
Like what percentage would you say we're at?
Sorry. This is the last full area cleanup that we do. After this, we go immediately back to Ukana, which is that greenish area where we had the hallucination.
Okay, sure.
We would have done most of that cleanup on our first pass through there. Well, technically our second pass through there. And then we'll do the very tail end of Ukana cleanup by using that same door grapple trick again to get us back up to the top of the area.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And then we would proceed into the last area of the game, Maruru. So we're like almost at the end of the run at this point.
Gotcha.
We're at the very tail end. So after we do that door grapple, we actually have another little displacement warp here. So there's this item here, and if we tuck trace very much there, so we're gonna send our drone to pick up some map tiles. It's gonna go through this downward door and it's gonna fall, and then we're going to recall it, and that is going to displace trace right up here. And this is the door to a boss room, and you'll notice that we are missing a map tile here, and we didn't get this item because we actually save warp out of the major upgrade that we get from here. This would lose 30 seconds if we came back for this item just like on the way out the first time that we're here. It's very, very slow to get the first time around. But there's also this, which we couldn't have gotten the first time around. So we have to get that anyway.
So that definitely helps to do it together.
So that displacement warp that I showed you with like tucking into that purple block, that saves 12 seconds. It doesn't seem like it should save that much time, but what we're actually saving there, and I want to kind of stress this a little bit, is we are saving. So the door transition between these areas is given because the drone comes through the door, but we also have to climb up this room, right? With all of those steam vents, we would have to go through this door transition as well,
so
and we would have to
saves that
traverse this
extra
room.
bit.
Yeah, so not having to do all of that ends up saving like 12 seconds.
Gotcha.
So at this point, there's this save room and another. This is actually a funny story about this room. This is the room that we were in when we did the back door. So actually, if I go up out here, you'll see this is the place that we did the grapple before.
Oh yeah.
But it doesn't work with red coat. It technically is possible to do it with red coat.
You have to, but it's better to do before.
Yeah, it requires. So if you want to do it with red coat, you actually have to do a really precise grapple swing so that you lower trace so that he gets stuck in the door by his swing. It's incredibly difficult to do. Even the only person who we know to have pulled this off can't do it reliably. So we never do it.
Sure.
And then I'm going to show you, just for the sake of kind of like contextualizing it in the routing. There's another little mini dungeon over here, which we could have done earlier, but is much faster with Red Coat and Drone Teleport.
Yeah,
and then at the end of this, there's two items on a fork. There is no glitching or anything that happens in this, and then we save warp back here to the end of Apsu. So now at this point, and the reason that we anchor here is so we're gonna come out here. There is actually an item hidden there. Don't forget that item, by the way. I've forgotten that item more times than I can count, and it is soul crushing to see that 99% at the end of the run. It's not a fun time.
Sure.
This is a room that we would have come through after the second boss. That's like, we would go down through this room after the second boss. But there's this whole section to the right that we haven't been through yet. So there is actually, here, I'm gonna try. This is actually really difficult to show, just because the setup for this is very hard. But so, up here is where the boss room is, right?
Okay, sure.
And there are these bubble blocks here. And once you have, drone and drone teleport, you can get Trace here. And then displacement warp him.
Ooh.
And that actually takes you all the way to the top of this.
That's awesome.
And so if I go through this door, this takes us into what's called Spider Heck.
Okay.
So named because spiders. Heck.
Because spiders, yeah, exactly.
And so I actually had that in my routing at one point, because we would do Spider Heck earlier in the run. And that is like, this is how I would get out of here. But like this, I'll show you, this room connects to the place that we were before. You can see on the mini map, we've been in the room below this.
Sure.
It's just more of this like metallic or like stony structure. But the important thing about coming out this way, right, and the reason that we route this way, is that this actually takes us right here. And right here is specifically the entrance to Ukan, right, where we want to do the door grapple trick.
Right. Okay, cool. I remember.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Now we do the door grapple trick. Here's the thing about doing the door grapple trick this time is this room is actually supposed to exist now. So you'll notice the door that let us clip into the save room below, it's not there anymore.
Gone.
Yep. So it's just this weird, it's this accident of like old level design that happened to get preserved in the map because it wasn't worth taking out, that lets us do this trick at all.
Awesome.
Right, in the hallucination version. It's just like a complete accident.
Would we say this is a good spot then, if you want to get some water?
Let's take a break, but first, right before that,
sure.
I just want to note, I walked through the door on the left.
Now it works.
The game didn't crash because now there's a room that it links to. So
I was like, there has to be a door now. It has to be working there. Awesome.
All right, let's go ahead and take a break then.
Sweet.
I could use some water.
I hope you all have enjoyed the show so far. It's awesome. We have the rest of this 100% kind of routing glitch area to break down, and then I know that there's some story mode stuff that Sabera wants to go over. So make sure you stick around for that. Just getting up, get some water, get a snack, do a stretch. Good for you. Stay hydrated. We stay healthy here. We take wellness breaks. It's all good. Also want to point out, if you enjoyed Frost Fatale, on March 26th, we're going to have the Frame Fatale Game of the Month celebration here on GDQ Hotfix, which is going to be awesome. So you can always go to gamesdonequick.com/framefatale for more info about that. Also, I'm sure you all know, but Summer Games Done Quick has been announced. You can find out more information about the dates and event information also at gamesdonequick.com. Very excited about that. In person, it's going to be cool. I know that there's like some changes and adjustments and all kinds of stuff, but hey, here we are. At least there's progress. I'm very excited about that. So excited. Yeah. If you're watching now, we have Hotfix shows happening, weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern and weekends at 1 p.m. Eastern. So you can always check them out. Feel free to glance at our YouTube channel during break as well. If you're like, nah, I've got my water, I've stretched, whatever. So you can do that too. But we'll be back shortly with some more Axiom Verge. Sabera is doing amazing. This is super cool to see. And we got some more coming up for you in just a few. All right, everyone, we are back with more That's Never Happened Before. Hi, I'm Kungfufruitcup here in the background. Woo! I'm not sure why I did that. But I'm joined by the awesome Sabera Cassia, who has been doing some Axiom Verge today. We are going through the 100% route. And again, this is a glitch-based show. We are breaking it down here. We've been getting like a super duper breakdown of all the glitches and unintended things that you can see in the 100% category. And we'll also be doing some speedrun mode. So we can get started again and see kind of like the rest of that little bit. Sabera, feel free to count down and get us back into it. And
all right.
I would also say real quick, as you're doing a few things, if anybody's just joining us, it might be good to do like a really quick description of like some of the common skips that you've been doing, like the grappling through the floor and stuff like that.
Yeah. All right.
Awesome.
So welcome back, everybody. Let's talk a little bit about some of the glitches that we've covered already. So one of the things that we've covered so far is the door grapple. Let me see if I can actually pull one off on this door. Come on. Be nice to me. I'm good at these things. At least I'm theoretically good at these things. There we go. So this is a door grapple. I moved through the door while grappled on, and the grapple stayed attached where it was, so it dragged me back into the room. And if I disable the camera unlocking, you can see that the game thinks that I'm in the room on the right, but I'm actually in the room on the left. And I can fix this by going through a door, and the game will figure out where I am. Door grapples are used in a couple of the big skips. We actually did one of them just recently to get up to where we are at the top of this area. Another big one that we're doing a lot of is grapple clipping. Grapple clipping, here, hold on a second. There we go. We can clip through a floor by locking in place, firing our grapple forward, jumping, and while in midair, flipping our grappling hook upward. Sometimes it's a little finicky. There we go. Well,
there you go.
That's more or less the idea. Anyway, you can grapple clip through not a floor if you want to. Anyway, another thing that we've been doing a lot of is void warping. We actually won't be doing any more of that this run. That's where we set our drone somewhere in one area and then recall it out of bounds in a different area. So it gets out of bounds corrected to its last valid coordinates, which don't apply in the new area, and that lands it somewhere else where it's not supposed to be, but where we do want it to go. We are actually about to proceed into the last area of the game, Maruru. I think Maruru is, there's a couple of glitch applications in Maruru, and one useless obscure glitch that I'm going to show you, as well as a little bit of secret stuff. Then before we get into the story mode stuff, I'm actually going to show you some of the things that you can access with glitches that are there, but you're really not ever supposed to see them. I've shown a couple of those things so far, but we'll see some more. So here we go as we proceed into the last area of the game. I'm going to go ahead and turn on God mode just because everything in this area hits like a truck, and I want to focus on showing you the glitches and not the hitches, which is what happens when I mess up the movement in the area. Yeah, see, it's a little rhyme. We have fun here. We have fun here, folks. All right. So the first fun glitch of Maruru is actually a boss skip. So welcome to Sentinel. We actually don't do this skip in 100% because we have to kill all of the bosses. It is an all bosses run in addition to everything else. But it turns out that this floor, or this piece of the ceiling, which disappears after you beat the boss, is only 3 tiles thick. So if you use iframes to grapple coat through it, you can just leave. Bye, Sentinel. We hardly knew ye. Okay, so I want to show you what is my favorite thing in Maruru. So in the room to our right, there is a 4 thick laser barrier. There is a switch way over there that we can't hit reasonably. We have no way to get to that. And there's this really tantalizing item on the other side. We want that. We want it. And the way that we're supposed to do this is if you glitch this enemy, then when I room transition, oh, it actually did not come with me.
Oh, like it's supposed to usually.
Yeah, it did kind of in the wall. Oh, there it is. No. Here, hold on a second. I'll show you on this one. It's gonna hang out over here, and I'm gonna room transition, and now it's here in the wall somewhere. So if I grab this thing right here. Oh, this is, yeah, okay. So that's actually, I think that is actually the glitched enemy that I made follow me. So I'm gonna get that kind of over there. And now they're over there, and they can hit the switch for me.
Oh my gosh! Because
that's
they're
how
trying to
you're
get you.
supposed to solve that puzzle.
Oh,
that's how you're supposed to solve that puzzle. Okay, I'm gonna reload state. I'm gonna show you how we solve it in Hundo. Oh, hey, they're embedded in the walls. Cute.
It's there.
So here's how we solve this in Hundo. Grapple clip. And now we can collect the 2 items that are down here that we didn't even know about. And collect that one as well. And now we can hit the switch. And we can just leave. Grapple clipping is not intended. But the sentinel, the sentry thing is intended. So now in 100% we don't, I'm going to show you another glitch application that we don't do in 100% because we need map tiles.
Okay.
But if we displacement warp in the laser barriers in this room, that puts us up here in this room, which is actually on the way that we want to go. Now, normally there is an item in this area down here, and there's like drill blocks there. But because the room is unloaded, the drill blocks are indestructible and the item doesn't spawn.
Oh, interesting.
Right. So that's not what we would do in Hundo. But the glitch is there, and I did want to show it. Okay, so I want to show something because we're talking about relatively amazing things. I want to show something that's not a glitch, but that I think will scare people. So this is the worst boss in the game. This is Zetterhole, and Zetterhole is weak to leaving the room. I could literally just walk out the door if I wanted to, but I'm not gonna. I am instead going to aggressively, oh no, there we go. All right, cool. I am going to aggressively dash and flamethrower Zetterhole, and now Zetterhole is dead. Optional super boss.
Oh my god, that was fast.
Yep, he's a required kill in 100%.
In 100%, yeah, that's all bosses.
So there's this little secret area, by the way, past, so the upward door in the previous room that I was in is the way that you're supposed to go to the final boss. So in this room, you're supposed to, when you glitch this kind of enemy, it'll move in the way that my D-pad is moving. So I aim up, it moves up, I duck, it moves down, left, right, whatever. And when I shoot, it fires its laser, right? So again, I navigated up that corridor to where that red switch is. Right? Okay. I have it fire the laser, and that disables the laser barriers. Yep. But that's slow. Grapple clip.
Grapple clip. Perfect.
And that gets us the jokiest weapon in the game. This is Reverse Slicer. Reverse Slicer is actually potentially useful in Rando because it passes through walls. But otherwise it is otherwise completely useless.
Oh my gosh. So you go back to your flamethrower?
Yeah, we're gonna go back to the flamethrower. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn God mode on. I don't really care about. Actually, you know what? I'll turn God mode off. I can move through Disco Hack without worrying about it. So this is Disco Hack. This is the last room in the game before the final boss. There are no glitches here. This is all just movement. Everybody hates this room because it's terrible. It's fairly difficult, and the movement through it is fairly tight. But I do want to show you something that's a little bit funky about this area. And we're going to do this before we get into the final boss fight, and I show you the final glitch that is available in the run, but it is not run useful. It's an obscure, useless glitch. Boop. I'm in the last boss room now. If I unlock the camera, you can see I'm in the last boss room unloaded. Here's the entire carriage. You can see that like the sprites, this whole area is destructible because there's an animation at the end that when the thing dies.
So this is the final boss?
This is the final boss of the game. So you're supposed to come through this red door and up through that middle shaft. Okay. But also there is another hidden room on the right of this. And you can't get through here. There's no door that leads here. But this is what was supposed to be the final boss of the game originally in the early designs. So this is, we don't know what this is actually supposed to be like. Tom has never released any information on it. We've asked, I don't know if he even remembers, but we haven't gotten an answer about like what it was actually supposed to be or what the like narrative was for that.
Sure.
So we don't know anything about that, but this is it's only 2 tiles thick. This is so confusing to me that this is like I guess it just like who would think to do this, but you can just do that.
But still, yeah, exactly.
So I'm gonna go ahead and there's a disco ball right outside the room. I'm just gonna use drone reset to get rid of that. We're gonna go ahead and take a quick save. We don't really need a save for this, but we're gonna. Okay, I'm gonna turn on God mode again because it's actually going to make doing what I'm gonna show you next easier. So first, this is also 3 tiles. So you can actually just clip through the ceiling of the boss fight. And the thing you need to destroy is this like green gem thing at the top that I was attacking. But the donuts or the beholder sentries can't get to you here. So you're completely safe. This is not fast. If you're doing an actual run for PB, you would actually stay inside of the room and you would, just continually dash upward and flamethrower the thing. But
this is too funny.
Actually, but from here it's pretty funny. But so there's also this big zoom out, and a big machine comes to zap the boss, and if we leave the room through the save room while that's happening, the zoom out effect stays. But in the rest of the game, the zoom out effect doesn't work properly. So we end up with this big pixelated.
Oh no.
Everything's pixelated. This is actually kind of a fun way to view the game, in my opinion. I wish there were a way in the debug console to just do this all the time.
All the time. Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that I think is really cool is if you come over to this this boss room, this old final boss room, with the zoom out, you can see the whole thing at one time.
Ah, that's really cool.
And that's like, this is where the final battle was supposed to happen.
It's supposed to be, yeah.
Yeah. This looks really cool, right? Like from a visual perspective, this is really cool. Mm-hmm. I assume that it didn't fit the overall narrative structure of the game, right? Once everything was finalized, because like the final boss is your clone, who like turned genocidal due to things, and you have to kill your genocidal clone. Just normal sci-fi things.
That's what being a doctor's all about, scientist.
Yeah. So this is one of the really fun things about this pixelated zoom out too, is 1 second. I'm just gonna if we you've seen so far that it sticks if we go through doors.
Right.
That much is true. And it's actually really fun to fall through that room when you can see everything that's going on. I love, and with the camera unlocked, you can see all of the. Is the camera still unlocked? Yes, the camera was still unlocked. Even if you lock the camera, you can just see so much. Like, all of this area is just like, all of the stuff that's out of bounds is actually filled with solid blocks. It's one of the reasons why we can't void warp in this area, because unlike other areas in the game that just they're just like full of like nothing on the outside, this area got filled. Just like solid blocks everywhere outside of the normal gameplay area. And I don't know why this area got that treatment and other places didn't. I'm actually kind of curious. Like, yeah, it's just more solid blocks. It's just this sea of solid blocks. And if we leave, we can't go this way because I didn't. Yeah, I can't. It doesn't reach.
Oh no.
Well, that's fine. That is not what I was supposed to do. Wrong button. Pretend you didn't see that.
Huh. Right.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. I think teleporting will disable it. Yeah, teleporting disables it, unfortunately. But I wanted to bring us back to the beginning of the game. Okay, yes, it's true. So RPG Me in the chat correctly points out that you're not killing your genocidal clone, you are the clone, and the genocidal one is the original you. Well, the genocidal one is like a more original you. It's unclear, basically. But so the last thing that I want to show you in terms of like weird out of bounds stuff that you're not supposed to be able to see, before I get into the crashes, and there's a couple of other crashes that I do want to show.
Right.
Is one more door grapple. So if you door grapple from Absu back up into Erebu, you end up here.
Oh.
I've unlocked the camera. Otherwise, if you lock the camera, you just see this. You
can't see.
But this is that's weird. I got something that looks kind of like a number 4 and a number 3, and this door doesn't work. Got garbage inside of it. And why is there water here? Huh? That's weird. There's no water in this game, by the way. Like there's like nowhere that you can go in and out of water. And yeah, there's like a unused egg.
Yeah.
What is so there's all of this here. This is some fairly interesting stuff. But there's also, let me see if I can find my way to where I'm trying to get to. So, yeah, that's solid. Can I do it here? Yes, I can. Okay, great.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So now along the sides, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and that's the bottom. These are rooms. These aren't debug rooms. This is when Tom was laying out the maps in Tile D. There's a little bit of water in the game. I lied a little bit about that. But there's no like water area. There's not a lot of it. He used these rooms were here for grid alignment. Mm-hmm. And if you look on the map, if you look on the map, you'll see that there is like a faint gray border around the area of Erebu, and that we are within that gray border. This area is not considered out of bounds, and the game will not try to correct our position here. It is within the borders of the area.
What?
Yeah. This is so if you look at the extracted maps from the game, this kind of thing exists everywhere, but this is the only area in the game where it is in bounds for the area and reachable by means of some sort of normal gameplay.
So odd.
It's so weird, but it's like so cool that this is here and that we get to see it. We get just like little glimpses here and there into things like bits of the game's development. And it's the common refrain in the Axiom Verge speedrunning community is that all of the glitches in this game are canon. And I love that. I love that interpretation. I'm a big subscriber to that. So like all of this stuff, like these rooms actually exist in the Axiom Verge universe as far as I'm concerned. Like
I mean, the game literally has the whole concept of, oh, you glitch through stuff, so why wouldn't you count it?
So basically intended.
Somebody wanted to count. They just liked counting.
Yeah, and of course, we can get ourselves back up here but this invisible water just really gets me. Like these water tiles are solid, but there's invisible water right here. It's like bunch of and this is like the reason that this stuff is here is for testing effects, right? Like that's gotta be why it's here. So now with the randomizer, if you're interested in playing with all of this stuff. With the advent of the randomizer, you can now input the passcode secret window into the passcode tool, and that enables debug mode. Debug mode gets you two things. One, it gets you access to this console, which has a whole bunch of commands as well as some hotkeys that you can use to save state, load state, turn on God mode. There's just like a bunch of different stuff that you can do from this console to help. And one of the great things about this is if you're interested in practicing parts of the speedrun, save and load state and the ability to just like teleport to different areas of the game, particularly to save rooms, which are usually really good inflection points for the run. It's just absolutely unparalleled. We didn't have any of this stuff when I was starting out running, and it's just so incredibly useful. The other thing is there is in fact a debug room. The debug room is here, and it has all of the items lined up neatly because it was used to debug the randomizer. You could see what all had spawned, and at least in theory intuit from its position in the room where it had spawned. So you could test logic by checking against things in the debug room. So that was pretty neat. The debug room is located in an area outside of the 7 main areas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 main areas of the game. I can count, I swear.
That's okay. I mean, it's like you know them so well, but you're not always in a place where you're like, let's list everything off all at once, you know?
Yeah, how many areas actually are there in this game? I don't know. So I definitely recommend taking this out if you are interested in if you are not interested in running this game, please change your mind. We would love to see more runners of this game. And the randomizer is super fun, and we do randomizer races.
It looks like because it's like, platformer, it's Metroidvania. I mean, it's just very fluid, and there's like a lot of things you can do and a lot of really interesting mechanics that are used in it. With the whole glitching thing, and then with the glitches on top of it. So there's just a lot to really play with here. Yeah.
There's a ton in this game, and I bet there's stuff that we haven't even discovered yet. Like one of the strats that I did before with a grapple clip to get into a drone tunnel way earlier, after we did the hallucination sequence, that was found by a rando player. Who showed up to the Discord after seeing my AGDQ run, and then went on to run Axiom Verge 2 at the most recent AGDQ. And he doesn't speedrun aside from that one Axiom Verge 2 run. So he found this one thing because he was playing around with stuff for randomizer and does randomizer races. And so the more people that we get with fresh eyes looking at this, it's just there's probably more stuff to be found. Okay, so let's talk about crashing the game.
Yes.
So I've already told for those of you who weren't here before, if I come into this lava, there's no floor underneath here. This is the void, and if I Actually, drilling the void down here. Oh, that's just going to knock me back to my last valid position.
Oh, okay.
Drilling the void in most cases will result in a crash, but there, because I guess the drill starts in a valid space, it's not doing it. Actually, I wonder if sending the grapple downward there will work. There we go.
Okay. Here's
No more
one.
game. So grappling in the void crashes the game. I don't care about syncing to my Steam cloud. Don't. Wait, why isn't my controller working?
Oh.
There we go. All right, there we go. The game didn't have focus. That's why. Oh, thank you so much. Yes. Okay. So grappling or drilling the void crashes the game.
Yes.
The grapple actually, if you're doing it with the grapple actually has to attach to something that is out of bounds.
Okay.
Yeah, you grapple the void grapples back. Exactly. An upshot of this is if you do a door grapple into a place where the grapple would end up attached out of bounds, the game crashes.
Oh. Like, I didn't notice. I'm like, wow, it's taking a while to load.
Yeah, nope, that was crash.
Right. Okay.
So there are places where door grapples just don't work. And in fact, most door grapples crash the game. Sorry,
weird.
most area transition door grapples crash the game.
Most.
That is something you want to be aware of.
You have to like experiment and get lucky to find the ones that didn't.
We basically just tried everything because there's no real cost to it crashing.
Yeah, for sure.
So those are some ways to crash the game. I showed the one that was in Eden earlier. I'm trying to think. The main other way to crash the game is to quit the game while the game is trying to save.
Okay.
Or collect an item. I'm not sure that I can do this in speedrun mode. I'm not positive.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to try several times to pause on the same frame that I initiate the save. Oh, okay. That did not work. I'm positive that I heard the sound effect though. Let's see. Let's try again. Okay, you heard the sound effect. Unfortunately, because the game hasn't actually initiated the save action and pausing freezes it, that did not actually help me. That did not help me at all. Oh, I can show you a soft lock. Here, this is not a crash, but it is a soft lock, which is fun.
We've heard about a few others in this game, like tonight.
Yeah, there are a couple of other places that you can soft lock. This one is actually, this is actually not. You could call this a hard lock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a setup for an area transition backdoor.
Sure.
But here's what's going to happen. I'm going to leave here. Trace is going to go through the door. Trace is going to come through. The drone is going to come through. I have control of the drone, okay? This is fine. I can pause the game. I can recall the drone. Everything's fine. Now, here. We're going to do the same thing again, but the drone is not going to follow Trace back through the door. Drone is going to come through here. Oh, Trace did not go through the door this time.
Oh.
Here. We're gonna... These can be finicky, so I'm not surprised. Right? We'll get it to work eventually. Come on. Well, the problem... So part of the problem is that now it's cached the area transition. So it's happening a little faster, which makes it harder for this to work.
Mm-hmm.
I may be better off reloading to try to get it to uncache the area. I'm not sure that that's going to work exactly the way that I want it to, but we'll see. We'll do our best here. All right. Embed. Fire the drone through. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to leave the drone on the right side. Trace comes out. Trace is still inactive because the drone is out. But the drone isn't in the active room, so it can't move. There's no active hero in the room, so I'm pressing the pause button here. Like you can see me. I'm pressing the select button to try and open a map. Nothing happens. I have no control. No control whatsoever. I am completely locked at this point. The only thing that I can do at this point is close the game.
Oh yeah, because that's just it.
That's just it. Yeah, you have no control. Oh. You have no control.
All right. Almost like a crash.
All right. That's. I mean, so I'm gonna. I don't think that I have any other crashes in speedrun mode. I do want to show a couple of places where glitches can get you into trouble. We actually did show a soft lock on a glitch earlier. But if we go back up here, this is area 4, save room 3, save room 4, save room 4. There we go. It's hard to remember which room is which. Okay, so this was the entrance to Temple. And so this is where, so here, remember, we did a door grapple trick to get into the deep parts of the temple.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But if you try to do that and you accidentally do a grapple zip instead, you can actually end up here.
Oh no.
Yes. And when you are doing this trick, you don't have red coat. Red coat can get out of here because this is only 2 tiles thick. But trench coat can't because there's no place for you to grapple swing in here. There's not enough room to grapple coat out of here. So you can actually get soft locked.
Oh yeah. Oh, and that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, weird. That's so strange.
Yeah, so a lot of people for marathon safety will take a safety save because there's the save room that's right outside of here. But that is a thing that can happen and that you do have to be careful of. Learning to do your door grapples correctly is real important. And anytime you're doing a void warp, you have to be careful about your positioning because you could accidentally void warp into a wall. Nobody likes that. It's not good. That's just not good. It's not. Yeah. No. That concludes speedrun mode. We're out of stuff. We're out of stuff on speedrun mode.
So cool to see though. But we're not done.
We're not done.
We got to go through some story mode things as well. So explain before we get into it, like why we're switching to story mode and what differences that's going to make in terms of what you're showing off.
It would be my pleasure.
Okay, great.
So one of the big things about speedrun mode is speedrun mode removes all of the dialogue and all of the cutscenes from the game. And they will not play no matter what you do. The passcode tool, which you pick up during gameplay, normal item that you can find, has the ability to replay cutscenes. You can input the passcode cutscene 00 and then an ID, and that cutscene will play back. Some of these cutscenes lock or unlock Trace's movement or kill him. Lots of different things that can happen. And so these can be used to force control in unusual ways, or to force deaths in unusual situations. But because the cutscenes will not play under any circumstances in speedrun mode, you have no access to them. None whatsoever.
So. Gonna have some fun.
This is going to be a much, much shorter demonstration. I will warn you in advance than the speedrun mode stuff.
Where are we starting from, by the way?
So we're starting from not a real position in the game.
Okay.
This is the entryway to Eden.
Yeah.
Oh, right. You know what? So I actually did not give myself all of the items that I would normally have at this point. Oh, sorry. I wanna point something out, actually, before we kind of get into this. And I'm actually going to delete a file to show this off.
Sure.
If you input the Konami code at the title screen, there was a little selection sound that you just heard, and I go ahead and I start a new game. I'm gonna go ahead and skip the cutscene. When this finishes, and there's gonna be a little cutscene playing here, I will have the passcode tool. So by putting in the Konami code in story mode, or it also works in randomizer mode. It does not work in speedrun mode, but I have passcode tool.
That's hilarious.
I would not normally have access to this.
It works. I love that.
But yes, it absolutely works. So I can pop in my debug, my little debug passcode here, secret window. There's a nice little warning that this invalidates a bunch of stuff. All right, that's cool. And now we have our console back. Right. Okay. So I set up a bunch of stuff in a console in the other file that I was using. And I'm not sad about deleting the experimental file that I just deleted. So super don't worry about it.
Okay.
I see people talking about Axiom Verge 2 in chat. I want to say, I think that Axiom Verge 2 is actually a better casual gaming experience from the gameplay side. But Axiom Verge 1 is a vastly better speed game.
Okay. What about story-wise?
Story-wise, I say I liked Axiom Verge 2 as a continuation of Axiom Verge 1's universe. And I liked the tiebacks to Axiom Verge 1. And I think overall, the game did a good job with that. I would be hard-pressed to compare the stories quality-wise. It's not really my forte. My strong suit.
Yeah.
Anyway, so now I'm going to go ahead and give myself high jump, which is called field disruptor in this game. It looks like a Wi-Fi symbol, but we call them Jordans.
I love that.
We call them Jordans because high jump boots. That's what we call it. I'm going to give myself grapple. It's not a grappling hook, by the way. It's just grapple. Just FYI.
Just cause.
And Axiom Verge 2 is not run and gun. It's primarily melee combat. The combat is actually not the most important part of the game. There's a lot of things that are just like overall different about it that I think made it weird for a lot of people. But I absolutely think that it's worth playing. Also, please give Tom money so he makes more games. So let's talk a little bit about cutscenes. When you're going through the hallucination sequence and you get to the boss at the end of the hallucination sequence, Trace has a hallucination that Trace is, in fact, the boss. And when you are playing through that boss, you have control of the boss rather than control of Trace.
Right.
And so you just take your hands off the controller, and it's not the fastest way to do that fight, but it is a thing that you can do. Cutscene 25 is that cutscene. There are a couple of interesting things about cutscene 25, actually, in order to show these to you, I'm going to teleport back to the beginning of the game. One of the most important things about cutscene 25, though, is that it gives us text storage. And anytime you hear text storage, your alarms should be going off like wild.
Yeah, I mean, so you can. It usually means that you can have text up and then you can start moving around when you're not supposed to. That's what I'm used to seeing in games.
I'm going to go ahead and activate this cutscene. Now the enemies are no longer moving in place, and I can just like walk right over this thing, and it doesn't do anything. As long as this cutscene is playing, I am invincible. I can still kill things.
But they don't do anything to you.
But yeah, if I change rooms, I lose my invulnerability. I don't lose the text storage, but I lose invulnerability. And as soon as the cutscene is over, text storage is done. Now, There's an important thing about cutscene 30, which is that cutscene 30 is the cutscene that plays in the clone room. So you remember the like non-boss that we found in the like rebirth chamber?
Yes.
Kind of,
yeah. That was on the other like pedestal.
It's just called clone, right? When you get through that, like after you're done either killing clone, or if you actually wait, clone will just die on its own eventually.
It kills you too, right?
Huh? The cutscene that plays after that kills you.
Kills Trace. Yeah.
And cutscene 30 is that cutscene. So if we activate this, I can't move Trace around, but there's a whole bunch of dialogue, right? A bunch of stuff happens, and at the end of this cutscene, we're just gonna die. Like, and this is like a fairly long cutscene, so this is actually gonna take a little bit, but here it comes. We die at the end of the cutscene. All right, cool, great. I'm gonna show you 2 more cutscenes that I have prepped.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm going to show you a couple other glitches that I have kind of in storage. Okay, so cutscene 44 is the game's opening cinematic cutscene.
Oh, okay.
Or no, this is actually the true ending cutscene. I'm sorry. It's a relatively short cinematic cutscene. I'm going to go ahead and skip it. We have control here.
Sure.
One of the things that's really interesting about text storage is if I activate text storage, right? I have control of Trace here. I'm going to go ahead and activate the forced death cutscene. Now, I don't have control of Trace here, right? I can't move him around. But as soon as cutscene 25 ends, I have control of Trace again.
Oh.
So now I can move around while the death cutscene is playing. Now, the reason that this is important is you're going to see in just a minute. I'm going to just advance this as quickly as possible. Trace is going to die. And while he's dying, unexpectedly, we can open this. So as we're starting to reload, we're going to reactivate our text storage cutscene, and now I have control of Trace early. And I fire the drone out here, and then as soon as the cutscene ends, I have control of both of them at the same time.
Let's go.
You love to see it. You love to see it. This is the buddy cop film we always had the opportunity for, but never got. So Trace and drone. So if I take them through a door at the same time, they can both go through the door at the same time, and I can stay in control of both of them. If only one of them goes through the door, like Trace comes through here, the drone is just going to sit around while Trace hangs out over here.
But if you go back down through, can you control them both again?
If I go back down through, I get control of both of them. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Now, there's another hitch with this. So while this is happening, as long as Trace and drone are in the same room, as long as they're in the same room, I can press the inventory button. I can't open Trace's. If I try to open the menu, I get the drone menu, and the drone menu will not let me go into the inventory. But if I press the inventory button, the button that just automatically opens the inventory, then I get to go into the menu screen. And that will allow me to activate cutscenes again. Now, if I activate cutscene 25 again, the drone will continue to move with me. But if I then transfer text storage to another cutscene, even one that doesn't actually do anything, like cutscene 26, the drone will stay in place and I can move Trace by himself until cutscene 25 ends. So basically, I can just run Trace way the heck across the room while the drone sits there and waits. Okay, so Trace says, "Am I? Demon Athetos say, kill. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry." And that's the end of the cutscene. So I'm going to go ahead. We're going to go ahead and we're going to trigger that cutscene again. And we are going to then trigger cutscene 26 so that the drone stays where it is. And we're going to repeat the process. This is a really long room. This is just a really, really long room. So it's actually going to take us a while. Every time we jump, it advances the cutscene. So there's nothing we can do about that. We're going to have to restart the cutscene several times to make it all the way across. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Is this room so long?
Huh? Oh, yeah. Every time you get to the end of cutscene 25, you hear the boss roar.
Oh, no. Why is this room so long?
Oh, why is this room so long? Oh, this is Indy. This is the central corridor that connects everything else in the game.
Oh, okay.
So this area connects to every other area in the game except for the temple, Ekerma, and the final area of the game, Mar-Uru. Ekerma can only be reached through Kur, and Mar-Uru can only be reached through Ukana, the area with the hallucination in it. So that's why this is so long, is that it has to connect everything, and everything fits in Euclidean geometry, more or less.
Okay.
So,
Gotcha.
So we're going to go ahead and do another activation here. We're still not nearly across this room. This is going to take some time. I do apologize, folks.
It's okay.
We're just cut text storage and cutscene activations again and again. All right, I got to make sure that
It's still really cool. And I mean, it's only, we're only seeing a couple things in this mode, so,
Yeah.
making the most of it.
Wait, I'm no demon. Am I? Okay, so there's a little water there, so you could see a splash effect in there if we were to go in. All right. We transfer it to cutscene 26. We're finally at this edge of the room. Okay. So now comes the hard part.
Okay.
I'm not sure I'm going to be able to activate this glitch correctly. I am really sorry if this doesn't work out. One of two things could happen. Either the glitch could just totally fail and I could have to reset it as and do the whole room walk again to try and set it up a second time, which I'm not going to put you through. Or I could cause a crash.
Okay.
In which case I would also have to do the setup again, which I'm not going to put you through.
Or it would just work.
Or it would work. Like those are the options.
Okay. What's supposed to happen? Or do you want to do it and then tell us?
I'll talk about it first.
Okay.
The glitch that I am about to attempt is called door storage. So Axiom Verge, when Trace moves through a door, actually physically moves Trace's character through the door. There is a slide that happens. He slides into the door on one side and he slides out of the door on the other side, and it is a continuous motion. He doesn't get warped at any point. Door storage is the act of killing Trace under very specific conditions while he is in the middle of a door transition. What that does... Yeah, so we use a cutscene to kill him while he's in the middle of a door transition.
Right.
More specifically, what we do is we use text storage to allow control while the cinematic cutscene is taking place. And then we move Trace into the door. All right, we make the drone go through the upward door it's positioned under and move Trace through the leftward door that he's positioned at.
My gosh.
Such that Trace goes through the door first, the drone goes through the door second, the cutscene ends while Trace is in the door.
He dies.
And then we end the other cutscene, the one that kills him, so that he dies while he's inside the door.
Right.
But we have control of the drone. What will then happen when Trace respawns is that he will continue the leftward movement that he was supposed to get from this door transition until he crosses the X coordinate that ends this door transition. And if that ever happens, the game will crash.
Oh, okay.
But if it doesn't happen, then we will get to keep that momentum. While the game is unpaused, Trace will, if he hits a wall in this condition, slide upward along the wall.
Okay.
If the game is paused, Trace will continue to move to the left, including passing through walls.
Oh. Whoa. Okay. Oh, you got me really interested.
I have never successfully activated this glitch, so I'm going to try to show it to you.
Okay.
I am going to try to show it to you, but I cannot make promises about how this goes. So the first thing that we need to do is activate cutscene 25 so that we have text storage. The second thing that we need to do is activate cutscene 30 so that we will eventually die. The third thing that we need to do is activate the cinematic cutscene and wait until it is almost over.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Like waiting.
Yep. Now, I don't remember exactly where this cutscene ends. Okay. We're going to wait for the fade out. Okay, I hear where it goes. So now what we're going to do is we're actually going to activate this again because we do have a little bit of room in here. Okay. Then we're going to wait again.
Huh.
Bump, bump. I'm trying to use the music fade out to time out. Nope, I didn't get it. Trace completed the door transition before the cutscene ended, unfortunately.
Oh, so close. So the next thing that I'll ask about this though is like, is there like a YouTube video or something that we can link?
Yeah. So here, hold on a second. I will go ahead and grab the YouTube video of it so y'all can see. Rare Beef, who figured out all of the story mode glitches, and in fact created a story mode low percent run that has unfortunately never actually been like run. But he routed it out. Has a video on. That is not correct. On how door storage. On door storage working. So is it okay for me to post that in the chat? Or do I need to give it to somebody who has authorization to?
I would send it through Discord and then it could be posted that way.
Okay, here. I will put it in the Discord. Okay, so it is now in the Discord channel for the show.
Cool.
So if somebody wants to go ahead and grab that and then share it into the chat, then we can go ahead and do that. So unfortunately, I mistimed it a little bit, which means that basically I would have to go and like set up the whole thing again.
The whole thing, do like the multiple cutscenes and all of that.
Yeah, with doing the multiple cutscenes and running all the way across the room. So first I would have to set up simultaneous control again. Gotcha. I think. Actually,
so then
I'm not totally. Actually, hold on one second. I'm not totally sure that that's true. If I don't have to set up simultaneous control again. Oh no, I do. The drone is not here. It's just
that's a bummer.
Because it got destroyed by my death, which I expected.
Okay.
So we would have to go through the entire setup from the beginning again.
Right. Okay. So what you're saying is that he would start flying through to the left?
Yeah. So basically, when Trace then respawns here, he would just keep moving left without me doing anything. And if he ran into a wall, he would just slide upward along the wall. And if I paused the game, he would just continue moving left, but pass through walls instead.
So how far does he go?
Until it hits the X coordinate where the transition is supposed to end, and then it crashes the game. Oh, okay. So you can there is nothing that you can do to cancel door storage except crash the game. Importantly, drone teleporting does not cancel door storage. So if you have drone teleport, you can use the drone to move Trace to other places, like to the right, and through rightward doors. And basically the only time that Trace will not be moving left is if he is not in the loaded room. So like if Trace were in this room and I had the drone leave this way while door storage was happening, Trace would stop moving because he's not in the loaded room anymore, so he's not active. Okay. And so the game wouldn't move him. And then I could teleport Trace into this room, and then he would just like right to the left immediately. You can get there are two kinds of door storage you can get, actually. There is upward door storage and there is leftward door storage. And up door storage basically just moves you up in the same way that left door storage moves you left. And so you're just moving diagonally forever. I don't know how you set up both of these at the same time. Beef has some way of doing it, but no video for it.
Okay, but it has technically been done.
It has technically been done. And so as a result of that, there's another weird thing that happens when door storage is active, which is so while the drone is out, Trace's like comatose body will continue to move left. And if it hits a wall, it will just rocket upward. Like it will automatically displacement warp. As though we had reset the drone into the room and Trace was embedded in a wall. So we're waiting for somebody who has mod permissions to link it in the chat.
I'm gonna try. No idea.
So,
okay, there you go.
Did it work?
Did it work?
Oh yay, it worked.
Okay. All right.
Cool.
I
So
wasn't sure.
that video, I guess VIP is enough. Yeah. So door storage is really, really interesting, and it reduces the so low percent world record for Axiom Verge is 10% of the items in the game, I believe, maybe 9. Actually, let me double check that. I don't want to give you bad information. But with using story mode glitches, it's 10%. It is 10%.
Okay.
Using story mode glitches, you can get that down to, I believe, 8%.
Oh, you said the low percent. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So there's like, it's really cool that you can get that much reduction out of it, because like technically it is possible to use door storage to get drone teleport without having the trench coat, which is otherwise impossible. And having drone teleport enables you to do other kinds of movement, and you can get into Mar Uru just wearing the lab coat, where normally you need red coat to enter. Like there's no other way to do it anymore. There used to be in older versions of the game, it was actually possible to enter Mar Uru once you had trench coat. But that got patched out.
Gotcha.
So it's really, really cool and interesting to see that there's like so much stuff that you can go without if you can use these cutscenes to just like pass through walls in weird directions. Anyway. So if anyone wants to like fiddle around with door storage aside from Beef, I'm sure he'd be more than happy to tutor you. He was happy to give me as much information as he could remember leading up to this, and I just unfortunately did not have time to practice the door storage setup as much as I needed to. But now you know that it exists. I was able to talk to you about it, and that was
I mean, it's really cool. I mean, just hearing about it in the first place and kind of how it can all factor together.
Yeah.
You know, it's really cool.
Well, unfortunately, that is all that I have for you. Thank you all so much for joining me. Thank you so much, Fu, for having me. I really appreciate it. This was super, super fun, and I hope everybody had a really good time.
Yes. Okay. Well, first of all, you've been awesome, and this was really cool to see. I know sometimes I would get quiet just because I'm like paying attention or like trying to keep up, which that just happens to me every show. Because it's always like we are here talking with the experts, like learning from like an expert in this game, you know, and all of their knowledge about like, you know, what they have to share. So yeah, it's, you know, I feel like I'm not the only one, right? I'm sure there are people in chat who are like, you know, your mouth is just hanging open for a while, or you're just like, man, glitches. Am I right? So yeah, this was really cool to see, especially as somebody who wasn't as familiar with the game. I got to like seeing both like, oh, this is what you're supposed to do, but here's how to do it our way. Like that's part of my interest in running the show, and you know why we do it here. So really, really cool to see. I appreciate you coming on. You've been awesome. And can you please, please, please tell us here, for everybody watching tonight, where we can find you and what you're working on? Like, give us your different socials, like what you're doing and all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Sabermesia. You can find me on Twitter at twitter.com/Sabermesia, where I can often be found doom scrolling. And I don't know if it counts as a social network, but I do have a Bandcamp. A lot of what I've been working on lately has not actually been as much speedrunning as I wrote a concept soundtrack for a Metroidvania game that I would eventually like to make.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And that is linked out from my Twitter, so I'm not going to give you the long URL here.
Okay, that's totally cool. But then, like on stream, what are you working on right now?
On stream, so I'm just about to start back into Axiom Verge 100% for GDQ submissions, and hopefully to get that 116 that's like dangling right in front of my face, as well as a little indie game called Greek Memories of Azure.
I want to play that. It looks so good.
It's really good. The speedruns for it are super cool too. I'm going to be submitting those as well.
Yeah, the GREAK.
Yeah,
right?
GREAK.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah,
it's
so
a
very good game. I have been doing a casual playthrough of Tunic.
And heard good things about that too.
Yeah, and I'm also about to start a game that was just released today called Itorah. ITORAH, which is also a platformer. I played the demo. It seemed like maybe it had some like Metroidvania stuff going on, but I'm not exactly sure yet. But it's got really fun movement, and I love me some platformers. So.
Yes. Yeah, I can tell. Yeah, that's coming across a little bit.
Just my favorite kind of game. Like I ran Ninja Gaiden for a little while, and like you don't do that unless you actually enjoy platformers, because that game is hard and frustrating. So that's what I'm working on right now. So if any of that interests you, please come on by and hang out.
Well, there you go. So please, everyone in here, if you have enjoyed the content today, please, please, please go give Sabera a follow. You can see how much work she puts into it and how much she knows and how much she absolutely loves the series and other platformers, which is really cool. I also like platformers, but I'm much more of a casual in that sense. So, except for like Kirby, but it's different. So yeah, definitely go give her a follow. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. We are, basically, I'd say every first and third Monday. It's kind of every other Monday at 10 p.m. Eastern. So you can always tune in and say hello to us. Check out more of the games. You can go to the YouTube channel, check out some of the past episodes or our other Hotfix content. Again, we are weeknights starting at 7 p.m. Eastern for Hotfix shows in general, 1 p.m. Eastern on the weekends. If you have any ideas for your own like show or one-offs or anything like that, you can always go to gamesdonquick.com/hotfix to submit your ideas, which is really cool because, it's been growing. This has definitely been like a growing thing for the last year, 2 years now. Ooh, I don't know. I feel like it's been a while already. Also, for those who are interested in Summer Games Done Quick coming up, I believe run submissions are now open, like now. Like this evening it started. So I gotta get my showcase stuff ready. And anybody else, if you're interested, definitely go check that out. Submit your stuff. I assume volunteer things are open as well. So go just check it out at gamesdonquick.com. You can learn all of that. And if you'd like to see more live Hotfix content, you can tune in tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern for Random Number Generation, which is an awesome show. It's RNG, so that should give you an idea of what's going on with it. It's randomizers. It's gonna be great. So go check that out tomorrow. Wonderful show. There's so many amazing Hotfix shows now. So I feel like I'm just lucky to be a part of it, But yeah, again, thank you, Sabera. You are wonderful. Chat, you're all wonderful. Everybody's cute. Thank you for being here. And we will see you next time. Have a great night, everyone.